Today's episode is brought to you by thisdayintheNFL.com. Celebrating football's greatest moments, one day at a time. Listen to classic broadcasts, explore historic games, and keep the legacy of the NFL alive at thisdayintheNFL.com.
Here's Al Wester.
Very quickly here, the lineup now for the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively starting at the split end is number 43, Frank Lewis, the 5-year man from Grambling. At the left tackle, number 55, John Cobb, a 7-year veteran from Oklahoma State. At left guard is number 50, Jim Clack, a 5-year veteran from Wake Forest. At center, number 56, Ray Mansfield, a 13-year veteran from Washington, will start. The right guard is number 72, Jerry Mullins, the 5-year man from Southern California. At right tackle, number 71, the 4-year veteran from Brigham Young, Gordon Gravel. And the tight end, veteran Larry Brown, number 87 from Kansas in his 5th year. In the backfield, the setbacks, and they're two great ones at running back number 32, Franco Harris. Franco Harris has 1,246 yards this year. Great year for the veteran from Penn State in his 4th year. He's complimented with the great blocking of number 20, Rocky Flyer, the 7-year man from Notre Dame. On the flanker, a real speedster, number 88, his 2nd year from Southern California, is Lynn Swan. And the quarterback that leads the Pittsburgh Steelers football team is number 12, Terry Bradshaw, in his 6th year from Louisiana Tech. We'll check further into the starting lineup after this.
And the word we have is another NFL owner has demonstrated his pleasure at another losing season for his West Coast entry. A quick report from ABC's Lou Boda.
Dick Nolan is the latest NFL coaching casualty, fired by the San Francisco 49ers just 4 days after Mike McCormick got the axe in Philadelphia. In addition to the aforementioned head coaching vacancies now exist with the New York Jets, New Orleans, and newcomer Seattle. And coaches in jeopardy include Chuck Fairbanks at New England and Tommy Prothro at San Diego. And in the game of musical chairs so prevalent among the pros, we wouldn't be surprised to see Nolan wind up at San Diego in Prothro's replacement. It's been rumored for weeks.
ABC's Lou Boda on the firing of Dick Nolan of the San Francisco 49ers, so they'll be looking for a new coach very shortly. Well, this is just the first of 4 games to be played this weekend in the NFL. Later today, St. Louis at Los Angeles. Sunday, Dallas at Minnesota, and Cincinnati at Oakland. Again, Al Wester.
Both ball clubs are on the field very quickly. The defensive alignment here for Baltimore. The defensive ends, number 78, John Dutton on the right side. Number 72, Fred Cook, is on the left. In the front 4, number 76, Joe Herman of Syracuse is the right tackle. Number 63, Mike Barnes is the left tackle. The linebackers, number 52, Tom McLeod of Minnesota is on the left side. Dan White of Ohio State, number 53 on the right. And the middle linebacker, Jim Jayunski of Syracuse. The cornerbacks are number 42, Lloyd Mumford of Texas Southern, and number 31, Nelson Muncie of Wyoming. And the deep backs, the free safety is Jackie Wallace, number 20. Bruce Laird, number 40, is the strong safety. In just a couple of minutes now, the NFL kickoff on Mutual.
And we'll be set for the kickoff in just a few moments. Of course, later today, we'll have the other game in the NFC. It'll be the St. Louis Cardinals against the favored Los Angeles Rams at the Coliseum on the West Coast. Pittsburgh has been installed an 11-point favorite for this game. Now, a lot of people think that might be a little long. But you have to remember, they are the defending world champions, and the Colts are a young team, and on defense, they have been prone to a few mistakes at critical times, but not too many in their last 9 games, as they have ripped off 9 straight wins on their way to a remarkable turnaround from 2-12 a year ago. Ted Marchibroda's team certainly has been the talk of pro football, and with their performance this year, it's likely that Ted Marchibroda is the coach of the year in the NFL, although there are a lot of other coaches who are in the running. Don Shula has done a remarkable job at Miami with all the injuries he had this year just to get his team into contention and narrowly missed the playoffs. They actually finished in a tie with the Baltimore Colts at 10-4, but because they lost 2 games in head-to-head confrontations, it was Baltimore as the division champion. And Miami finished out of the running as Cincinnati beat them out for the wild card berth with an identical record of 10-4. So today it's Pittsburgh, the heavy choice over Baltimore, but Baltimore is an explosive club. But as we said, Pittsburgh is expected to take advantage of their inexperience in the secondary and on defense, and that's where the difference lies right now. Later today, St. Louis at Los Angeles. For the Rams, a couple of question marks, although they're favored. They've still got injury problems, and it's not known who will start that ball game today for Pittsburgh. Will it be Jamie Harris, who's been out with an injury, or will it be the strong-arm Ron Jaworski? That's a question mark. Larry McCutcheon has a muscle pull in his leg. He's a doubtful starter. But the Rams are deep, so the injuries may not play that big a part in that game. And as Terry Metcalf, Mr. Everything for the St. Louis Cardinals, said, we both have good benches, we both are explosive-type ball clubs, and we can both turn the ball game around in a hurry. So that one should be an interesting game also. On Sunday, Dallas at Minnesota. Well, what can you say? You've got two of the great scramblers in football in that one. Roger the Dodger for the Dallas Cowboys, and the remarkable Fran Tarkenton, the scrambler for the Minnesota Vikings. And that game probably is going to be played in near icebox conditions up in Bloomington, Minnesota Sunday. The weatherman is forecasting at best low to mid-20s, so it's going to be tough handling that football up in icebox country. Now let's get back to Al Wester at Three Rivers Stadium.
It's Pittsburgh and it's Baltimore. Ladies and gentlemen, one of America's fine young broadcasters with the play-by-play action. Here's Don Crickey.
Thank you very much, Al Wester. Tony Linhart has the ball teed up at his 35-yard line to our right. Absolute hysteria in the stands already here at Pittsburgh. This is the team of this city. Linhart's kickoff right to left isn't too deep. It is taken by Dave Brown. Throws it out across the 35 on the far sideline, breaks it open field, comes across the 45-yard line, fumbles the football, and Baltimore might have recovered. The Baltimore Colts, after an excellent return by Brown, gets the fumble. And they get it on the Pittsburgh side of the field. Al Johnson is the man who recovered. Marshall Johnson recovered that ball. They raked it free there. It looked like he'd make a big, big run on the play. And he did. He brought it out, fumbled the football, bound it free, and Baltimore has the first break in the game. Don? So a great return, and all of a sudden the ball is fumbled, and now Burt Jones and the Baltimore offense starts to go first and 10 at the 49-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jones, second back through, Lydell Mitchell straight ahead, pulls his way down to the 47-yard line. A short gain on the play as the heart of that Pittsburgh defense knocks him down. The Steelers dressed in black and gold, and the Baltimore Colts in all white uniforms with the traditional blue horseshoe on the helmet, blue numerals. Burt Jones is the quarterback. The running backs are Lydell Mitchell and Bill Old. The wide receivers, the deep threat, Roger Carr, he is wide to the right. To the left is Glenn Dowdy. The tight end is Raymond Chester. Steelers going to a six-man front. Second and 8. Burt Jones, just the handoff, has taken himself and lost the yard. Back to the 48-yard line of Pittsburgh. Looks like a misconnection there, Al, as the left side of the Pittsburgh defense came right on him. L.C. Greenwood, the left end, and Jack Lambert, the outstanding middle linebacker. Don, cold fingers there, chill fingers. Burt Jones dropped the football, then scooped it up. L.C. Greenwood, Jack Ham was in on it, too. That ball is just over the 50 at the 48-yard line of the Steelers, and their defensive unit wants to take it back. It is now third down and 8 for the Baltimore Colts, 48-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Opening quarter, there's no score. Colts moving right to left. Jones snaps the pass. Back to his 42. Swings out the left flat to Lydell Mitchell. Across the 45, inside the 40. And crashes down to the 38-yard line. And he has the first down for Baltimore. A swing pass to the left flat to Lydell Mitchell, who's had a great year receiving. That's his 61st reception this year. Russell and Wagner are the two men to make the tackle. They come in strong there. Wagner, Russell, and Jack Ham are not 100% on. All three of them nagging injuries that have been problems that have kept them out of ball games along the way. But the Steelers are playing them just the same because Lauren Toews, who backs up Andy Russell at the linebacker spot to begin with, is out completely. The
Colts coming up with a big third down play. Now to first and 10 of the 38-yard line of Pittsburgh. There's no score in the first quarter. Baltimore's Burt Jones is dropping the throw. He looks. Big rush. They get him on the neck. He eludes the pass rush. Now he's running. They're going to get him. A penalty marker goes down. We might have holding against Baltimore. We'll have to see what the foul is as Burt Jones is knocked down to the 41-yard line. It is a holding call against the Baltimore Colts as that literally vicious Pittsburgh defense came in and almost decapitated Burt Jones.
Dwight White made the stop there on him. Coming up to help was J.T. Thomas. But here's the situation of the defense just fucking up there. This great defensive unit of the Steelers. They're talking to them at the moment, apparently holding against the Baltimore Colts. 50,350 jammed into Three Rivers Stadium here this afternoon. All of the elements of fantastic electricity that only a great playoff game like this could produce. Don Crickey?
Indeed it is, Alice. There's a tremendous electricity throughout this stadium. This is the team of Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team down for so many years. It rose up, won the National Football League championship, the championship of the world last January, and is now making an assault on a second world championship. It'll be first and 20 for Baltimore at the 48-yard line of Pittsburgh. Wide receivers to either side. Jones goes with a long count. Here's the snap. He's dropping straight back. Back to his 42. Fires in the right flat. The ball is almost intercepted. Beautifully defended against by All-Pro Jack Ham, number 59, down to the 32-yard line of Pittsburgh. Jack Ham had a hand on the ball, as Burt Jones, who's thrown very few interceptions this year, was almost picked off that time. It'll be second and 20. Glenn Dowdy was the intended receiver there. He made the turn in all right, but he was sandwiched between cornerback J.T. Thomas and the linebacker with a deep drop, Jack Ham, both of them on top of him. Ham almost picked the football off. It is now second down and 20 for the Baltimore Colts, 48-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. First quarter, there's no score. Again, Jones looks to throw, swings it out. Lydell Mitchell can't catch the ball. He is drilled. Jack Ham caught him like a swinging, tackling dummy, as the Pittsburgh defense is awesome, early as the game is. And they're playing it for a good reason. They knew that Lydell Mitchell, who's caught 60 passes this year, was the swing man. They use him a lot for the little short patterns. They can expect it in third down situations. They like to swing Mitchell out there because once you get the ball to him, he can go all the way. He's got great speed, travels well. But there was great coverage for the linebacker, Jack Ham, all over him before he could get the football. The Pittsburgh Steelers, as you know, lost their last regular season game to the Los Angeles Rams. But those Pittsburgh players will tell you that wasn't the championship team you were looking at. We were tuning up. They still have the home field no matter what because of the Houston victory over Oakland. Jones is dropping the throw in third and 20. Fires over the middle. And way overthrown. He was going to Glenn Dowdy down to the 27-yard line as Burt Jones was leveled, and the Pittsburgh defense comes off on fourth and 20 to a standing ovation. Lydell Mitchell was the target, all right, and he went down on a 15-yard turn-in. But right there with him was both of the linebackers, the middleman, Jack Lambert, and Jack Ham, both of them deep. That means Baltimore will have to kick. Glenn Edwards, who missed the last two games with a sprained ankle, is back and in receiving formation, anticipating the punt of David Lee. Lee is standing at his 37-yard line to our right. Here's the snap at 5 but good. The kick is an end-over-end kick, angled for out of bounds. Nicely done by David Lee. He gets it out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. But wait a minute, there's a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. And the play is coming back. The kicker was Ross. Coming through, breaking through was Thomas, the cornerback, and on the kicking team, along with him, was number 76, Banaszak, and Banaszak made the contact on him. So blocking the kicker down is going to cost them yardage. They're stepping it off right now against the Steelers this time, moving it down to the Steeler 43-yard line. It goes down to the Steeler 43, and it will be first down. So, Al, early as this game is, we've seen the Steelers now make two costly errors. They fumbled the opening kickoff, Dave Brown returning it, but Baltimore could not advance the ball. And then when the Pittsburgh defense stopped Baltimore cold, after the Colts got the one first down, They rush the kicker, David Lee, and Baltimore has renewed life on the drive. They have the ball back down to the 43-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. An automatic first down. Marty Domreyes has now come in the game at quarterback for Baltimore. Apparently, Burt Jones might have been shaken up earlier. Here's a handoff up the middle. Lydell Mitchell, very little, if anything at all. He tried to hit right into the heart of that Pittsburgh defense. The defensive front of 78, Dwight White. 63, Ernie Holmes. 64, Steve Furness, starting in place of injured Joe Green. And 68, L.C. Greenwood. A straight-ahead give, and Lydell Mitchell had no hole to go to. As he was knocked down hard, the Steelers are a gang-tackling team. It is a vicious football team. It is an intimidating football team. National Football League teams tend to back off when the Steelers are up like they are today. They not only win, they punish the opposition. Now a Steeler left early. We'll see if he was drawn offside. We're going to have another penalty against the Pittsburgh Steelers as one of the defensive tackles looked like Ernie Holmes might have left early. And so it's a 5-yard assessment. Instead of 2nd and 10, it'll be 2nd down and 5 now for the Baltimore Colts. And the ball, Al, is inching nearer and nearer to field goal range.
Indeed it is. And one thing you've got to note here is the fact that the breaks, now that's the third break here early in the first quarter, that has kept the ball in possession of the Colts and has moved the ball down the field. At the 38, the Colts have a 2nd and 5.
2nd down, actually a short 5 for the Baltimore Colts. They are moving right to left in the first quarter. There's no score in this opening round AFC Championship playoff game. Here is a handoff, and driving high with the ball is Lydell Mitchell off the left side. He is drilled and knocked back at the 35-yard line. Lydell Mitchell gained 2 yards. One of the safeties, Mike Wagner, came up to hit him. And also on the play was the middle linebacker, Jack Lambert, the man they say that's meaner than Joe Green.
Field condition important in this game. There was the pulling guard, Elmer Collette. He should have gone into that hole first, but as he pulled out, he slipped down. Now remember, this is a very, very wet field, although it was covered. It was covered. The early snow still got through. It is wet out there.
It is an artificial turf field. It is 3rd down and 2 for the Colts. Here's the handoff. Bill Olds puts his head down. And he is knocked down close to a first down. Don't know if he got there. He had to advance the ball inside the Steelers' 33-yard line. And Ernie Holmes hit him head on as Baltimore, when they have run the ball, have gone right at the Steelers with very little success. They are short. It'll be 4th down and about a yard for the Baltimore Colts at the 34-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. As Burt Jones is on the sideline having his arm examined by the team trainer. He took a couple of very difficult, very hard licks when he was in there, dropping the throw one time. They got him right around the neck and knocked him down, a clothesline tackle. And now the Pittsburgh Steelers are sending in David Lee, their punter. They're playing percentage football. They will be angling the ball to get it out of bounds and drop the Steelers way back in their own area the first time they get the football. The Steelers have not had their offense on the field yet. The one time that Baltimore did punt to them, you'll recall, there was a roughing the kicker penalty against Pittsburgh. Now David Lee is standing at the Pittsburgh 48-yard line. He'll hit the ball at about the 44. Back deep for the Steelers is Glenn Edwards. Here's the snap. It's a good one. He fumbles the snap. Now he walks up and almost blocked, and he got it away. Looked like he was going to run with the ball. It carries into the end zone. And again, Al Webster, we have a penalty marker down on the field.
We've got 2 of them, one across the way, one down at the 23. These might be against Baltimore. We'll find out in a moment. That snap and fumble, they're indicating, was against Baltimore. It was illegal receivers downfield with the prospect that the man attempting to punt might pass.
But the Steelers decline the penalty. They'll take the ball at their 20. They don't want to give David Lee another chance to angle out of bounds inside. And now it's the score. The Steelers nothing and the Colts nothing. There's a timeout on the field.
And this one just in, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the right today to the first pick in the annual college player draft. And the Seattle Seahawks will get the first choice in the National Football League's expansion draft. In a drawing held before today's Colts-Steelers game in Pittsburgh, Tampa owner Hugh Culverhouse selected an envelope giving him the top pick in the February 3rd college draft. Herman Sarkowski, the managing general partner for the Seattle entry, took the envelope giving him the first pick from the expansion pool of NFL players. That will be held in New Orleans January 23rd, prior to the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl game. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the right to the first pick in the annual college draft, and the Seattle Seahawks, the other new entry next year, get the first choice in the NFL expansion draft. Well, we've had quite a number of mistakes on the part of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but their defense has more than made up for it, and let's get back to Three Rivers.
Don Crickey, the offensive unit of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has finally got into the football game. Bert Jones apparently injured the bicep on his throwing on his right arm. As we mentioned, Marty Domreyes came into quarterback after Jones started the game for the Baltimore Colts, and now it is 1st and 10 Steelers. Bradshaw's the quarterback. Franco Harris and Rocky Bleier. Here's Franco Harris, stutter stepping to the left. Drives across the 20. Powers his way out close to the 25-yard line. He got 5 almost on his own as Triumph. Number 59, the middle linebacker, made the hit on Franco Harris, who had his biggest rushing year as a Pittsburgh Steeler this year. Franco Harris, running with the ball, gained over 1,200 yards, averaged 4.8 a carry. And he is the first back in National Football League history to have gained 4,000 yards his first 4 years in the league. Wide to the right is the ever-dangerous Lynn Swann. Wide to the left is Frank Lewis. It is 2nd down and about 5 to go for the first down for Pittsburgh. Handoff goes, second back through the fullback is Franco Harris, straight ahead out to the 28-yard line. He got about 3, maybe 3.5 yards. Stan White, who backs the line on the left side, made the hit for the Baltimore Colts, number 53. Across the defensive front of Baltimore, John Dutton, 78, second year from Nebraska, great one. Joe Ehrman, number 76 from Syracuse. Mike Barnes, number 63 from Miami, Florida. And Fred Cook, number 72, the left end from Southern Mississippi. Dan White, Jim Triumphsky, and Tom McLeod back the line. Nelson Munzie and Lloyd Mumford at the corners. Jackie Wallace and Bruce Laird are the safeties for Baltimore. On 3rd and short yardage, Franco Harris powers ahead and gets the first down for Pittsburgh, running wide to the left. Harris started in. He had the option to hit the left tackle hole, did not, went wide and got across the 30 out to the 32-yard line. So he got the needed yardage, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have a first down. He was knocked down on the play by Stan White and Nelson Munzie. Al, what a powerful runner he is. Now, he ran right through Glenn Robinson, the rookie over there on the defensive right side. He ran right through Robinson, and Stan White had to do the honors of bringing him down, but Robinson knows that the man was not easy to handle. He couldn't handle him, at least that trip. Terry Bradshaw now at his team. 1st and 10, he hands off to Rocky Bleier. Second back through, weaves his way up the middle, shoots out to the right, gets across the 35, and out to the 37-yard line. And again, the very short middle linebacker, Triumpsky, is the man who makes the hit as the ball is advanced now out to the 36-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. There is no score in the first quarter here at Three River Stadium. Sam Davis, beautiful blocking. He's in at the left guard in place of Jim Clack in the offensive line of the Steelers. Made a beautiful block on defensive end, Fred Cook. It is 2nd down and 6 now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, dressed in their black jerseys with the white numerals, the bright gold pants with a black stripe down the side. Pitch back, Franco Harris running left, gets across the 40, still on his feet, across the 45, and knocks down to the 46-yard line. On the far side of the field, Franco Harris takes the pitch back from quarterback Terry Bradshaw, runs wide to the left, and linebackers Stan White and Jim Triumphy finally knocked him down, and Al another first down. And another great block, this time by the left tackle, John Cobb. They say he's a great one, and there's no doubt about it now. You take a look at him. He went out there and got that cornerback, Nelson Muncie, and just took him to ride. Wrapped him up, left the hole wide open. Great offensive line blocking by the Steelers. John Kolb and Gordon Gravel the tackles. Jim Clack and Jerry Mullins the guards. Ray Mansfield the veteran center. It is 1st and 10 Pittsburgh at their 45-yard line. Pitch back right side, Franco Harris. That stutter stepping, weaves across the 45, dives out to the 47. Got only about 2. As Triumpsky at 6'1", they list him at 220. He doesn't play much over 205. Came across and knocked Franco Harris down after a gain of only about a yard. So it'll be 2nd and long for the Steelers. Baltimore looks like they have a 6-man front up there. They're taking the 2 outside linebackers, Stan White and Tom McLeod, bringing them right up on the line. And, well, the pursuit is tremendous with those 6 men sliding across. Triumpsky is the only man in the linebacker position, legitimately. He's in the middle, and he could slide either way. Now it is second down and a long 8 for the Pittsburgh Steelers at their 47-yard line. Here is the handoff. Franco Harris runs to left. Penalty markers go down as Franco Harris is thrown back by 5 white-clad Baltimore Colts. He didn't get a thing, maybe a half yard. A penalty marker was thrown right into the middle of the play. And so we'll see what the penalty assessment is. The Steelers are walking back. And the officials are conferring with the defensive captain of the Baltimore Colts. The officials for today's game, the referee is Pat Haggerty. Paul Trapinski, Ray Dodez, Royal Cathcart, Ben Tompkins, Fred Swearingen, and Bob Deeks are assisting on the crew of Rep Pat Haggerty. The ball is set back now to the 37-yard line. And here is the signal. It is offensive holding against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That'll make it second down and 20 out.
You know, Don, Ted Marchibrodo said before the game, it's going to be settled in the pits up there. Can our defense stop the offense of the Steelers? That will determine whether we can win this football game or not. And we're seeing that crucial battle take place right now.
So now let's see what Bradshaw does. He's not put the ball in the air yet. It is second down and about 19 yards to go for the first down. The ball at the 37-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bradshaw goes to the draw. Franco Harris up the middle, crashes across the 40. On a straight-ahead run, he hits out to the 43-yard line. So Franco Harris got back about 7 or 8 yards. Mike Barnes was the man who knocked him down, a big 6'6", 260-pound defensive tackle. The ball is advanced out to the 43-yard line of Pittsburgh. It'll bring up third down and 12.
Excellent choice of quarterbacking by Bradshaw. Now, he flipped his wide receiver, Lynn Swan, out wide there. Going over to cover him was the free safety, Rick Bolt. They expected the pass. He came back instead, running right up the middle on the draw. Beautiful quarterbacking.
It is now third down and 12 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Lynn Swan, wide to the right. He's running a deep pattern. Bradshaw drops. He looks, puts the ball up, has a man open. The ball is caught by Frank Lewis on the far sideline of the 46-yard line. Very close to a first down, but it looks like he's going to be short of it. He had to come back at the ball. Lewis was running a deep pattern down the far sideline. Came back, and Bradshaw, with that powerful arm, line drove the ball right into the midsection of Frank Lewis. The gain is just short of the first down, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go for it on fourth down. A second tight end comes in. Randy Grossman comes in the game. Frank Lewis with that great deep speed. Just short of the first down where he stepped out of bounds. The ball is at the 46-yard line of Baltimore.
Don, here's the real challenge now. If they can keep it alive and move the football, or can Baltimore stop them here a yard short of the first down? Let's see.
They go to a wing-back formation to the right. They have a blocking back wing to the right. And an eye step the first second back through as Rocky Blyer turns the corner. He didn't get there. Dutton got him. Pittsburgh is stopped. And on a gamble on fourth down, the Baltimore Colts take over the football at their 46-yard line. John Dutton, the big one from Nebraska, number 78. With that great lateral pursuit came across as Franco Harris was looking to block for Rocky Blyer. He caught Blyer short of the first down, and the Colts take over the football.
I watch Marchibrodo over there, very happy gentleman. There's a timeout on the field, though, here in Pittsburgh with a score of the Steelers nothing, the Colts nothing.
During the preseason schedule, the Steelers beat the Colts, but even then, Pittsburgh coach Chuck Noll was impressed with the Baltimore entry.
We were impressed by him in the preseason game. After the game was over, I made the comment that this was a good football team and was going to be a good football team. And as it turned out, they are. And had a good season. The difference between them right now and when we played them in the preseason, I think, is their secondary. They've improved themselves. They've improved themselves defensively. Offensively, they've been a pretty good football team for the past couple of years. They've been able to put points on the board. And they've had a little difficulty stopping folks. They have a good young defensive line. Some of them with a year and a half experience. This is their second year in the league. The rest of them with 3 years. So with 2 and 3 year men there, they have fine physical talent and a fine football team.
Chuck Noll of the Pittsburgh Steelers commenting on the Baltimore Colts. Now let's get back to the ballpark.
Well, the experts who said there was a 10-point spread here, that the Steelers were a 10-point favorite over the Baltimore Colts, they certainly have not proven up to the factor. We have 6 minutes, 18 seconds remaining here. 6 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the first quarter. At Three Rivers Stadium, there is no score in the ball game. And just a moment ago, one of those crises, those big moments defensively for the Baltimore Colts, they measured up strong enough, Don Crickey, to be able to stop the Steelers with a 4th down 1 situation. And here is Baltimore now. Excellent field position.
First down, their own 46-yard line. Don Crickey, here we go with the Colts coming out of the huddle.
And Domrey's is the quarterback. Burt Jones is throwing on the sideline with an obvious pain. He has injured the right bicep of his throwing arm. It is 1st and 10, Baltimore. 46-yard line of the Colts. There's no score in the first quarter. Domrey's gives out second back throw and a straight-ahead carry is Lydell Mitchell. He gets out close to midfield. He is knocked down by Ernie Holmes. And there will be a gain on the play of about 4 yards. Lydell Mitchell getting good acceleration off the right side behind the blocking of Elmer Collett and George Kuhn. We now pause for station identification. This is Mutual, your network for news and sports.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Breaks the huddle. They have the ball second down and 5, the 49-yard line of Pittsburgh. Domrey's hands off again. They go to Mitchell again. He gets some yardage down enough for the first down and a straight-ahead carry. He gets down close to the 45-yard line of the Steelers. He was knocked out on the play by the middle linebacker, Jack Lambert, and also by defensive tackle, Steve Furness. Dwight White also on the play for the gang-tackling Pittsburgh Steelers. Marty Domrey, who has good statistics in the limited time he's played this year, threw only 10 passes in the regular season, completed 8. One touchdown, he was not intercepted. Third down and a short 2 for the Colts. They go to McCauley, and he dives inside the 45-yard line of Pittsburgh. He had to get to the 44, and we'll not know that until they uncover the pile. Don McCauley, the veteran running back out of North Carolina, was called on. He came into the game to run the ball, hit the left side of the Pittsburgh defense, got the ball inside the 45. It looks like he's got it from here, Al Webster.
Certainly does. It looks like it's from here, too, Don. They're going to... Are they going to bring the 6 in? Yes, they are. They're going to bring the 6 in. But you take a look at that offensive line of the Baltimore Colts team. You've got to begin to wonder a little bit. For instance, on the left side, Dave Taylor, a 3-year man. Bob Pratt, a 2-year man. So the power, these are the youngsters. The power is with the veteran, Elmer Collette, who plays the right guard, and George Coons, who plays the right tackle. Collette is a 9-year veteran. Coons is a 7-year man. He's an all-pro. He's a great one. It is the first down, Don.
He got the first down. Advanced the ball just inside the Pittsburgh 44-yard line. Now the Colts break the huddle. 2 men split way out to either side. Dowdy is to the left. Roger Carr on the right flank. Here is Domrey. Hands up. Lydell Mitchell comes wide to left. Turns upfield. Is cut down to the 42. Lydell Mitchell looked like he might have some room to run, but as he tried to cut back, and as you were pointing out, Al, the field is a little wet. He lost his footing. Lambert was at him quickly. A short gain on the play. A pickup is about 2 yards. It'll be second down and 8. He could have got 7 or 8 because there was some open room there.
It is slippery out there, and it has been wet. They've done everything they could to make it as dry as possible, but that early snow, that snow last night and snow early in the morning, although it was covered, seemed to get through and dampen the field.
Second down and 8 for the Baltimore Colts. No score in the first quarter. Marty Domrey is in for injured Burt Jones. Domrey's going to the long count. Now he hands off up the middle. There's no gain at all as Bill Olds, the fullback, got the ball and was knocked down, and a penalty marker's down on the field. Bill Olds tried to go straight ahead in a draw play. The Pittsburgh defense ate him right up. Big Steve Furness, 275 pounds, out of Rhode Island, starting for injured Joe Green for the Steelers, and the penalty is going to be against the Colts. Al?
Lindsey Nelson and Lon Simmons are standing by, ladies and gentlemen. This game, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, is the first of a doubleheader of playoffs. Both playoffs over many of these mutual stations. Lindsey and Lon Simmons are out in Los Angeles, and they will bring you immediately following this game the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams.
It was a legal motion against the Baltimore Colts. The Steelers declined the penalty. That brings up third down and 8 for Baltimore. Just inside the 42-yard line of Pittsburgh. The Colts are moving right to left here in the first quarter. They break the huddle. 35 Dowdy comes wide to the left. 81 Roger Carr again on the right flank. And this is where the Steeler front four comes at you like mad dogs. The passing down. Third and 8. Domrey drops the throw, and here come the Steelers. He gets some time, puts it up, it's intercepted. Picked up by Jack Ham. The All-American from Penn State, the All-Pro for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jack Ham. A consensus All-Pro comes across and intercepts the third down pass to Marty Domrey. And the Steelers have the ball at their 39-yard line.
All right, there's the first big break now for Pittsburgh. Possession at their 39. It will be first down for Pittsburgh at that point. Apparently, timeout being called down there. I didn't get the signals on that. So the score, Pittsburgh, nothing, Baltimore, nothing.
And with a timeout on the field, we'll have a look at the overnight pro scoreboard. Of course, what occurred last night in the NBA, the ABA, the NHL, and the WHA. In the NBA, Boston defeated Phoenix 112-106. Detroit over Chicago 101-87. Atlanta defeated Cleveland 98-97. Incidentally, Detroit's victory over Chicago broke a Pistons 9-game losing streak. Philadelphia defeating the Buffalo Braves 96-95. Milwaukee over Washington 85-81. Seattle down Kansas City. The Kings are slumping 90-87. And Los Angeles with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar having a sensational night. 41 points, 20 rebounds, 9 blocked shots. Los Angeles beat Portland 104-95. In the ABA, the New York Nets down the St. Louis Spirits 105-101. And San Antonio defeated Denver 117-106.
With Al Wester, this is Don Quickie back at Pittsburgh Three River Stadium. 3:54 to go in the first quarter. There is no score between the Colts and the Steelers. Pittsburgh just got the ball on an interception by Jack Ham. Bradshaw looking to throw it first down. Pumps it over the middle. It is caught by Frank Lewis. Inside the 35, inside the 30. And lit down at the 27-yard line by Nelson Muncy. A spectacular leaping grab. As Bradshaw burns the Colts on first down. A 39-yard pass play. The thriller out of Grambling takes it. What a great aerial act. Right down the middle, high in the air. Wallace has it. He pulls it down, and this fella can go with the football. He knows how to run afterwards. Once he had to catch him and bring him down. First down, Steelers at the Baltimore 27. Lewis literally got the ball with one hand. Then knocked it over and took it in with 2 on the dead runner. Now it is 1st and 10 for the Steelers as they're challenging. Bradshaw looks to throw again. Fires in the flat man. Is over the ball. Caught by Lynn Swan. He is knocked out of bounds to the 13-yard line of the near sideline. Bradshaw comes out firing on this series of downs, and Baltimore through the defense is unable to stop this onslaught as Bradshaw hit 2 consecutive passes to his brilliant young wide receiver. 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line of Baltimore. Clock is running. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first quarter. Lynn Swan is flanked to the right. Lewis goes wide to the left. Both of them, you'd have to put double coverage against them. Now Bradshaw gives off. Franco Harris rips up the middle, comes inside the 10 and down to the 8. Franco Harris hit off the left side. Back straight ahead. He was knocked down by Chomsky, the middle linebacker, and Jackie Wallace, one of the safeties. But he got about 5 yards on the carry straight ahead. They're going to give him a 5-yard pickup down to the 8. So it'll be 2nd and 5 there. And 2nd and 8 for a touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, they break the huddle with wide receivers going to either side. An open backfield. Flyer is touched to the left as a back. Franco Harris to the right. Bradshaw looks over his alignment, sets them down. Here's the snap. He hands up to Franco Harris, wide and left. Turns upfield, inside the 5. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Franco Harris cuts to the left, cuts upfield, back against the grain, into the end zone for a touchdown. And the Steelers are on the board with a 6-0 lead. They'll be going for the extra point as they go 61 yards in just 4 plays. 61 yards in 4 plays, and Mr. Franco Harris carries the mail from 8 yards out into the end zone, driving over on a tackle trap play to the left. He was right in for the touchdown, and the Steelers have the lead 6-0. Here comes the point try after. Don Crickey. Bobby Walden will hold. Roy Girella, the extra point man, a soccer-style kicker, hits it with the right foot. Set down good. Kick is up and driven through the uprights for the extra point. Perfectly executed by the Steelers, and so now they are on the board 7-0. The Pittsburgh Steelers put up the first points of the game. 2 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the first quarter, Don, as they come back up the field now. The Steelers will kick off, and offensively, they haven't had possession of that football very much in this first period. But at least on the second attempt, they've been able to move the football and move it well. They carried it down inside of the 40-yard line, or to the 41-yard line of the Baltimore Colts on their first offensive thrust. And there on a 4th and 1 situation, Baltimore's defense held. This time, though, they went to the air. Terry Bradshaw was the man throwing the football.
We'd like to remind you that later today, following the completion of the game between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, we will have the NFC playoff game from the Los Angeles Coliseum between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams, and that ought to be a good one. Now let's get set for the kickoff.
Here's the kickoff, and Don Crickey. Roy Torella hits the ball not very deep, a high-spinning kickoff. It'll be fielded about the 18-yard line by McCauley. Comes across the 20, cuts to the outside, tries to turn up the middle of the field, and does. Comes across the 30 and dives out to the 34. He was chopped down on the play by number 45 of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jim Allen. And Joe Ehrman was the man who led the blocking on special teams. Baltimore has the ball, and Domreyes is still the quarterback. Bert Jones, the brilliant young quarterback of the Baltimore Colts, appears to have injured the bicep on his right arm, his throwing arm. He's not come in since early in the first quarter. Here is a handoff right on Mitchell off the right side, spins across the 35, twists his way out to the 37-yard line, getting to the left side of the Pittsburgh defense. The umpire, the last man up is number 78, Dwight White, Mad Dog White. Joe Green not starting, as Al Wester pointed out at the outset of the game. They're keeping him out with that pinched nerve in his neck. That injury far more serious than was at first believed, because he's missed. This is now a stiff game. He was in for just one play, I think, against the Rams. It is 7-0 in the first quarter late, and Pittsburgh's in the lead. Domreyes drops to throw. He gets some time, swings it out. Lydell Mitchell has the ball at the 32, dances out to the 40, and is knocked down by 5 Pittsburgh Steelers. The resultant gain is only 3 yards. Looks like a lot more than that as they trigger the ball out in the far right flat. Lydell Mitchell started to dance up the far side of the field, but when he got up there, he was drilled by number 59, Jack Ham, and number 24, J.T. Thomas. When you talk about Lydell Mitchell, you're talking about a young man, too, who has 1,193 yards, 11 touchdowns on the ground, caught 60 passes this year for 544 more yards, and 4 more touchdowns. So you're talking about some kind of football player. You stop Mitchell, you stop the Colts. He's been the big guy this year. Bert Jones and Lydell Mitchell on offense. It is third down, a long three for the Baltimore Colts, ball just across their 40-yard line. Dropping the throw is Marty Downless. Big rush. The pass is completed. First down yardage is gained. However, there is a penalty marker down in the Baltimore backfield. And we could very well have a hold against the Colts, and that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers are signaling. And that's what the referee, Pat Haggerty, signals. The only way you can hold those guys out is to hold them. They are a vicious, intimidating bunch of football players. When Pittsburgh has a big game, nobody gets up like this club does. Who was it called them? The Monongahela Monsters? Well, they got a lot of names for them here. You see banners all over the stadium. I think every Steeler has his own fan club. And the ball on the holding penalty against the Baltimore Colts is now going to be set back to about the 33-yard line of Baltimore. We have 43 seconds left to play in the first quarter. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the lead 7-0. Lydell Mitchell is the running back along with Don McCauley now for Baltimore on 3rd and 8. Domreyes a long count, straight drop back looking to throw. Here they come after him. He gets the ball away. It is tipped. Roger Carr had a step on the defense, but it's incomplete. Jack Lambert tips the ball over the middle. And the pass is incomplete. And again, the Steeler defense is accorded a standing ovation. Listen to these Steeler fans as they stand, and they don't mind jumping right up in their seat and roaring their approval. All right, Baltimore will have to punt, Don. David Lee in again, now standing back at his 21-yard line. Glenn Edwards is back with Dave Brown, anticipating the punt. Here is the snap. It's good. The punt is hit high in the air by David Lee, way downfield. Glenn Edwards at his 15-yard line. Straight ahead 20. Straight ahead 25. Straight ahead 30. And knocked down to the 31. Hip spun off. Hip spun off. Drove straight ahead. Got to the 31. A 50-yard punt by David Lee. And the Pittsburgh Steeler offense comes back out on the field with a 7-0 lead and 25 seconds to play in the first quarter. Al? Credit Nettles with the tackle on that finally after the runner on the run back from the 15 to the 31 had spun, complete spinner, out of 2 tackles, got back to the 31 for a 16-yard return. Frank Mike Lewis goes wide to left for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're moving left to right in the second quarter. Bradshaw looking to throw in first down, complete to Rocky Blyer. Across the 30, across the 35, and he dives out very close to first down yardage. Along the far sideline, Rocky Blyer got the swing pass. He was hit at the 35 and finally knocked down by Chayonsky at the 41, and it appears it might be close enough to measure. He got right out of a tackle to Stan White, the outside linebacker on the right there, threw a tackle at him. He walked right through that. But White was backed up by Chayunsky, and Chayunsky, the middleman, the mic man, made the stop. White, incidentally, is not as strong on the run as he is on the pass. As a matter of fact, Stan White, the right side linebacker of Baltimore, leads the National Football League, all linebackers in interceptions. He has 8 this year. That's right. He's had a great year as the outside linebacker. The pass reception and subsequent run by Rocky Blyer is going to be a few inches short of a first down, so it'll bring up second and less than a foot. Very slowly, you get the feeling here in this cold, overcast day in Pittsburgh that the defending world champions are going to take control of the Baltimore Colts and eat them up. If you think this is cold, buddy, wait till tomorrow. Yeah, we got a little Bloomington, Minnesota tomorrow. Baltimore, a very game football team, but they suffered a very, very costly loss early in the first quarter. Their truly brilliant young quarterback, Burt Jones, apparently injured the bicep on his right arm, his throwing arm. He's not been back in. Now the Steelers have the ball, and before they get the play off, the gun sounds. That is the end of the first quarter with a score. The Pittsburgh Steelers 7, the Baltimore Colts nothing.
Having a look at what occurred in the National Hockey League on Friday, the Minnesota North Stars and the Washington Capitals played to a 1-1 tie, and that was a win or free ticket night for the Caps at Landover Center. Well, a tie is not a win, so they had to give some 1,200 fans some tickets for a future game. The Boston Bruins defeated the Buffalo Sabres 6-3, and with the win, Boston moved to within 2 points of Buffalo in their race in the Adams Division. Atlanta defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-3, and the LA Kings defeated the California Seals 4-2. The New York Islanders Red Wings game at Detroit was postponed because of snow. A lot of players, particularly on the Red Wings, could not make it into Detroit from their suburban homes. In the WHA, Houston defeated Denver 9-4, New England over Cincinnati 4-3. Toronto edged Edmonton in a wild one 8-6, Calgary 5, Winnipeg 4, and San Diego got past Phoenix 4-2.
Second quarter about to get underway here at Three Rivers. Third down and about 9 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll see if Bradshaw triggers it deep again. These youngsters from Baltimore, they have the speed, and they're able to pursue so well. Dutton, Ehrman, Barnes, and Cook up in the front line. They're the front four. The linebackers, White, Chayunsky, and McLeod, extremely fast. So is Muncie and Mumford, the cornerback. Very, very good on pursuit. It is third down, a long 8. Bradshaw's dropping. Big rush. Steps into the pocket. Puts it up. It's complete for a first down to 35. Mike Lewis, another great reception. Beautifully thrown ball. He caught the ball down to the Baltimore 35. A rifle shot over the middle. Lewis turned out to his left and was knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line. And so the Steelers get the big third down play. And they get the first down. Don, when they go deep, when these fellows go deep, when they get to the 15-yard point where they're going to make the break, and that's exactly where Lewis was, he was in between Muncie, the cornerback, and Stan White. He had split the zone in there, and he was right there, and that ball was on target. What a passer this Bradshaw is. Precisely what he did. Split the zone. He was right in the seam, and Bradshaw put the ball right on the numbers. Here's a handoff running with the ball is Rocky Blyer. Very little as he comes back on a counter play, slanting right to left. He is knocked down to the 31. A gain of only about 2 yards as Blyer, the former Notre Dame captain, is knocked down by Chayunsky. That'll bring up second down and 8 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The ball inside the Baltimore 31. We are in the second quarter here on the Mutual Broadcasting System. 12:48 to play in the first half. The Steelers lead the game 7-0. They went 61 yards in 4 plays. The last 8 coming on a run for a touchdown by Franco Harris. On second and 8, Bradshaw sets his men down. Here's the snap. Pitch back goes to Blyer. He's going to be knocked down by Stan White in the backfield. Throws him back. That didn't work at all. They tried to go out in a quick pitch to the left side, and Stan White was coming on a blitz and ran right into Rocky Bleier. Didn't actually throw him down, but just stopped him. The whistle blew, and there's a loss on the play. Well, there was a break. There was a break for Baltimore because they had the blitz on just at the right time and at the right place. They were bringing the right side linebacker, Stan White, across on the blitz. Joe Ehrman, the defensive right tackle, was also in there, but it was White who just backed right up on top of Rocky before he could start the move. There's a loss on the play of 5 yards. And it'll be third down and about 13 now for the Steelers. Ball at the Baltimore 35. Bradshaw drops straight back. Cocks his arm. What's the rip? Intercepted at the 23-yard line by Lloyd Mumford. He's across the 40 on the far sidelines and run out of bounds. Not done yet. He's still inbound. Lloyd Mumford is all the way down to the 20-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Looked like he might have stepped out of bounds, but the official was right there, said no, and with a cordon of blockers around him. He sprinted down the far sideline, advanced the ball all the way down to the 19-yard line of Pittsburgh. So it turns right around, and now Baltimore has the ball and is challenging. 55 yards on that return. He picked it off at the 25-yard line as he went down the sideline. Don, I thought he went out of bounds, too. There were a host of black and gold jerseys and trousers that belonged to Steeler players converging on him over there, and I thought they had bumped him out. Instead, Baltimore has first down inside of the Pittsburgh 20-yard line. Jerry Mullins, one of the guards, is the man who got all the way downfield and knocked him out of bounds and saved a touchdown. Now the Steelers defense is in there as Lydell Mitchell takes the handoff and goes straight ahead to about the 16-yard line. A gain on the play of 3 yards. It'll be second down and 7. He was knocked out of the play by Dwight White. Jack Ham came up to help on that. Dwight White there. Ham coming from the linebacker slot. Baltimore now can smell a touchdown and maybe a tie. 11:32 remaining in the second period, and Pittsburgh leading 7-0. Roger Carr goes wide to the left. Glenn Dowdy wide to the right. Second down and 7 for the Colts. 16-yard line handoff. Mitchell's got room to run. Gets inside the 10. Lydell Mitchell might have a first down. He had to advance the ball just inside the 10, and he appears to have done it. As he got that opening, good blocking from the Baltimore offensive front on the left side. Tackle Dave Taylor and guard Robert Pratt. And center Ken Mendenhall. It is a first down for the Colts at the 9-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore left tackle Dave Taylor handled Dwight White on that. Bumped the big defensive end of the Steelers out of the play and allowed them to go right over him. That's an uneven matchup. White should be able to handle Taylor most of the time. Now the Colts break the huddle and are going back into one as they have an official timeout on the field with 10:50 left to go. 10:50 to go, and the Colts are going into their huddle. The officials sent them back, spotted the ball down, made sure the yard markers were right. It'll be first and goal for Baltimore at the 9-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers lead the game 7-0. Baltimore starts out with an eye set. Toughest yards in football. Down inside the 10 against a defense like the Steelers. Here's a handoff. Second back, Lydell Mitchell crashes straight ahead down to the 5. Lydell Mitchell running hard. Got ahead for about 4 yards. That'll make it second and goal from the 5. Ernie Holmes, 63, and Jack Lambert. The middle linebacker made the stop for Pittsburgh. Ken Mendenhall is the center, the man who's handling the snapping in the middle of that offensive line. And Mendenhall, Bob Pratt, the left guard, and Elmo Collette, the veteran right guard, are the men that have to blast them out of the way if they're going to give him running room up the middle. Marty Domrey is the quarterback. Bert Jones out with an injured throwing arm. Domrey takes the snap. Hands off to Mitchell. Ernie Holmes pops and there's no gain. It'll be third goal for 5. Ernie Holmes flew aside the offensive guard that tried to block him and came right in and hit Mitchell head on very hard. And there's no gain. It'll be third and goal at the 5. Donnie Shell helped us back him up there. Now coming in, Glenn Edwards is coming back in to the defensive backfield. And Donnie Shell, who was in on that last play, comes to the sidelines. That's the change for Pittsburgh at the 5-yard line. Mitchell has gained 32 yards, has run the ball 12 times in the game. Third and goal. Domrey with wide receivers to either side. Moving left to right. Here's the snap. Short drop. Looking to throw. He's got to hurry. Triggers it. He's got the ball in the end zone. Touchdown, Baltimore. Glenn Dowdy bobbled the ball but caught it before it went down, and the Colts are on the board. So the big interception off the Pittsburgh drive turns the game around, and now it's a 7-6 ball game, and Baltimore can tie it up. Al? A 5-yard pass there to Glenn Dowdy into the end zone. Touchdown, Baltimore. They have a 7-6 ball game going, and here we go, Don, with a point that could wrap up a tie. Linhart, a soccer-style kicker with down raised holding, gets set for the point after attempt. Snap is good, throws the set down. The extra point is up. It is good. And now the game is tied 7-7.
The United States Department of Labor reports that twice as many veterans are unemployed today as there were a year ago. Wouldn't you like to know why? This is Tony Roberts speaking for the National Alliance of Businessmen, which through the Jobs for Veterans program speaks to employers about hiring veterans. American business is not yet out of a recession. Economic expansion is slow, creating a tight job market. But even when employers have a lot of applicants to choose from, it isn't necessarily the best qualified who get hired. It's those who can communicate with an employer and know how to master the job interview that end up in the payroll line instead of the unemployment line. There are jobs, however, and if you decide to get out of the service, you don't have to take the first one that comes along. But if you haven't done some prior planning to prepare yourself for your job search, you may find yourself desperate enough to take anything you're offered. To get free information on how to better your education, where to look for a job, or how to interview, just ask for it. See your education and career counselors today. You have a choice, so help yourself.
Lloyd Mumford's interception and return of 55 yards set it up. Baltimore kicks off. Don Crickey. Tony Linhart has the ball teed up to our left as the white-clad Baltimore Colts have come back now to tie the game just as it appeared Pittsburgh was going to take control. Leading 7-0 and driving forward what appeared to be another score. The interception turns it around. Another short kickoff by Linhart. It'll spin down to the 14-yard line. Dave Brown up the near sideline, crosses the 30, is run out of bounds at the 31. And the Steelers go on offense, 1st and 10. Rick Volk was down to make the play, the 10-year veteran out of Michigan. At the 31-yard line, he hit Dave Brown. A player is down for the Baltimore Colts. Hurt on the special teams is linebacker Dan Dickel, a second-year man out of Iowa. He is down. That's bad because Dickel would be the backup man, really, for Jim Chayunsky. If anything happened to the Mike man in that Baltimore defense, Chayunsky would, if he were injured for any reason, Dickel would be the man to come in and replace him. Now Dickel is down on the sidelines, and while we've got a moment there, we might remind you that
You know, these Baltimore Colts are a brash young lot. They've got a lot of confidence, especially on defense. Young Joe Ehrman thinks that the Colts can beat the Steelers today despite the odds.
Hey, we're a hell of a football team, and we've got the people to play any team in pro football, and we can beat Pittsburgh. It's just a matter of going out there and playing our game. We've got the people, we've got the attitude, we've got the coaches, we've got the brains behind the whole thing, and we've got the city behind it.
That's Joe Ehrman of the Baltimore Colts defensive unit. They've got a lot of confidence, and they've got to have it. They must have had it. They won 9 games in a row after getting off to a 1-4 start. So it's a tough ball club, and one that's up against maybe the toughest football team in the NFL. Now, time is about back in after the injury. Here's Al Webster.
apparently Al Dickel is all right, as he is walking off the field, just shaken up on the play. The Steelers have the ball at their 31-yard line. We have 9 minutes and 4 seconds left to play in the first half, and the game is tied, 7-7. Steelers scored first, went 61 yards in 4 plays, 2 big Bradshaw passes. Got it down close, and then Franco Harris ran it in from 8 yards out. And then the 55-yard interception returned by Lloyd Mumford. With the Colts in position to score, and they did from 5 yards out on a pass from Marty Domrays to Glenn Dowdy. Bradshaw going with a long count as the Steelers move right to left, dressed in black and gold. Hand off to Franco Harris. Straight ahead power football. Locomotive football. Move him out, put the big fullback on behind. And the ball is advanced out to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 4 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 6. John Dutt, who stands 6'7", weighs 273 pounds, made the stop. The left side of the Steeler line responsible there, John Kolb and Sam Davis, who's now replacing Jim Plank at the left guard, just blocking straight ahead beautifully. Franco Harris and Rocky Blyer are the running backs for Pittsburgh on 2nd and 6. Blyer gets the call. He spins ahead, out across the 35. He advances the ball about to the 38. He'll be short of the first down by 2 yards. Dan White was on the stop for the Baltimore Colts. As the Steelers now go back into the huddle inside their 30. 8:12 to play in the first half, and the clock is running. Al Webster? Well, what do you say about this? You've got to say school is out so far. We've seen Pittsburgh produce, and we've seen them fail down there inside the 20 to stop this Baltimore attack. Gary Bradshaw with a 3rd and long 2 drops to throw. He looks, cocks his arm, puts it up. What an arm. He's intercepted again by Nelson. Lloyd Mumford intercepts it again at the 50 and runs the ball back to the 43 where he's knocked down. He threw into the same coverage, the exact same pass pattern, the exact same coverage, and the same man, number 42, picked the ball off the same way. Caught it right in the midsection at the letters, right to interception number 5 and number 6 of the year, and it's the most opportune time in a playoff game. Lloyd Mumford, the man who was cut by Miami, dropped by Miami, picked up by Baltimore, is doing a job this afternoon. So the Steelers defense is back out there now. The pressure's on them as Baltimore has the ball 1st and 10 at the Pittsburgh 43. Hand off, running with the ball, Lydell Mitchell, not too much as he tries the left side of the Pittsburgh defense. Lydell Mitchell goes down, knocked down by Steve Burnett, the defensive left tackle. He wears number 64. Mitchell was just a workhorse football player this year. I thought that Ted Marchibroda's assessment is like a basketball player. You think he scores 16 points in the game, and you find out at the end of the game he's got 38. Mitchell caught 60 passes during the season for over 540 yards. Ran for 1,000, almost 1,200 yards rushing. John Rays drops the throw. Big rush against him. He's got a problem, and he's run out of bounds way back at the 48-yard line. A substantial loss on the play as Jack Ham came on the blitz and ran him down. As Marty Downways couldn't find a receiver, rolled out to his right, lost a lot of yardage back to the 49 of Pittsburgh. That'll bring up 3rd down and a long, long yardage. 3rd and about 17. They have double coverage down there on Glenn Doughty. On the right side, he couldn't throw there. Roger Carr was all the way across the field, deep in the end zone, and he couldn't follow the ball there. There was no way. Nobody to throw to. The Pittsburgh outside linebackers come up to the line of scrimmage. The middle linebacker, Lambert, drops back. He'll stay at home looking for the draw, and Albius passing down. Dropping to throw is Domrey. Big rush against him. He gets the ball away. It is tipped. Almost intercepted. He was going to Roger Carr down the 33-yard line of Pittsburgh. The ball was tipped by J.T. Thomas. Had he not tipped it, it might have been intercepted. There were 3 Steelers around the football. Now that brings up 4th down, the long yardage, and the punter for the Baltimore Colts, David Lee, is back on the field. And the Steeler defense now has measured up. They started at the 42, and the line of scrimmage is now the 48, so that defense pushed them back 6 yards in 3 plays. David Lee standing back at his 37-yard line. Glenn Edwards and Dave Brown are back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Lee unloads on the football and drills it right into the end zone. A 48-yard punt, it went from 50 yards out earlier into the end zone. And now the Pittsburgh Steeler offense comes out. The crowd comes alive as Bradshaw has been intercepted the last 2 times the Steeler offense has been out there. During the regular season, Bradshaw had outstanding statistics. He completed 58% of his throws through 18 touchdown passes and was intercepted only 9 times. Now to score, the Steelers 7, the Colts 7. There's a timeout on the field.
And a chance to look at what occurred yesterday in the first of a rash of bowl games to take place during the holiday period. In the Fiesta Bowl at Tempe, Arizona, a big upset. Arizona State finished the season with a perfect record of 12 wins and no losses. You know, the UPI poll, they finished 7th, but they're probably going to finish much higher after their brilliant come-from-behind victory over Big 8 power in Nebraska, 17-14. Coach Frank Kush of Arizona State, who has one of the best records of any active coach today, said it was the biggest win in Arizona State's history, and nobody will argue that. It's the biggest win not only for the school, he said, but for the conference as well. In the Sun Bowl football game, another Big 8 team went down at the hands of independent power Pittsburgh. Tony Dorsett, Elliott Walker, and quarterback Robert Haygood all ran for more than 100 yards each as the Pitt offensive machine grounded out, and Kansas was no match, 33-19.
Back to the action at Pittsburgh. Franco Harris carries off left tackle, knocked down by Joe Ehrman after a gain of about 4 yards. Harris, even when he's hit at the line of scrimmage and seemingly he's not going to gain any yards, somehow finds a way to twist and to power his way for yardage every time. Perhaps the best fullback in the National Football League, Franco Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now the Steelers break the huddle with second and a long 6. The ball is advanced out to the 23-yard line. Almost to the 24. Bradshaw, hands off. Again, he goes to Harris, and again the big guy rips it up down to the 30-yard line. It looks like he might have a first down for Pittsburgh. Franco Harris got the ball out to the 30. The nose of the football is on the 30-yard line. It's a first down for the Steelers, Al. If you're going to the left side like that, you've got to keep that big end outside. You've got to block him outside. Jerry Mullins, the right guard, did a beautiful job there on John Dutton, the big defensive right end of Baltimore, and gave a little running room there to Franco Harris. So it is first and 10 for the Pittsburgh Steelers now at their 30-yard line. Hand off again to Harris all day long. Got a good horse ride, and they take it out to the 32-yard line. That time the Colts defense shuts it down pretty well. Mike Barnes led the pursuit. Franco Harris has now run with the ball in this game 13 times, and he has gained 63 yards. So, Don, you talk about Mike Barnes, the left tackle, the defensive left tackle of Baltimore. He is an artist. He sketches and he sculptures, and he has had a big exhibition on his own. He's a tree surgeon in the offseason. And I tell you, he's a headhunter right now. He's after Terry Bradshaw, throwing the home run ball. He put it a mile in the air, way over everybody. Lynn Swan, Ritter was going down the far sideline. Bradshaw triggered that thing about 65 yards in the air. Overthrew his man, overthrew the coverage. It'll be 3rd and 8. Lloyd Mumford was after that football, too. Mumford said earlier, he said, let him try to throw against me. I look forward to the challenge. And that is the way you match them up. Lynn Swan against Lloyd Mumford. On the other side, you've got Frank Lewis working against Nelson Muncie. John Stallworth, too, against Muncie. Although we have not seen Stallworth go in there. We haven't seen him in action yet. But he's been one of the big surprises on this Pittsburgh team. An extremely fine receiver. 20 catches this year, 4 touchdowns. Lloyd Mumford intercepted 4 passes during the regular season. The Colts are one of the leaders in the NFL with 29 interceptions. He has 2 interceptions today, Lloyd Mumford. It is 3rd and 8 Pittsburgh. At the Steelers 32. Game tied 7-7 second quarter. Bradshaw, straight drop back. Linebacker coming out of blitz and drops him to the 21. Dan White came from the weak side. And a fight breaks out. A roundhouse right was thrown by Baltimore Colts Fred Cook, a defensive end. I don't know, he might be ejected from the game. No penalty markers. Baltimore Colts plugs another Baltimore Colt. Trying to get Cook out of there. They're putting Cook out, I believe. And Baltimore has taken him to the sideline. He's literally being escorted off by 5 of his teammates. He was incensed at what he thought might have been a clip or a legal block or something. He is just furious on the sideline. Mark Broda's trying to settle him down. I don't know if he was ejected from the game. I don't think he was there. Here's a punt now by Walden, his first. End over end. Howard Stevens, the little guy, takes the 36-40. Darts ahead across midfield. Free football fumble. Pile up looking for the ball, and Baltimore recovers at the 48-yard line of the Steelers. Howard Stevens, 5 feet 4, jitterbugged his way downfield and lost the football, but Nelson Muncie got it. Muncie's the man who got that football as it flew out of the hands of little Howie. Boy, that Howard Stevens is an exciting little football player. When he was with the New Orleans Saints, I love to see him go with the football. All right, we've got 4:39 remaining here. Apparently, there is going to be a timeout down there. So with a timeout on the field, the score is Baltimore 7 and Pittsburgh 7.
And we remind you that following the game between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and it's winding up to be quite a physical struggle there at Three Rivers Stadium, we'll have a game between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams from the Coliseum in California. A lot of basketball tournaments are underway across the nation during this holiday period. In the first round of the New York Festival at Madison Square Garden, number 1 ranked Indiana had little trouble disposing of Columbia, 106-63. St. John's defeated Temple, 67-59. In the first round of the Louisville Classic, the host team, Louisville, defeated Kentucky State, 106-93. Washington, one of the top-ranked teams in the country, won its opening game of the Far West Classic at Portland, beating Florida State 69-54. In the Ocean City Classic, out on the coast, San Francisco, another highly regarded team, beat Niagara of New York 60-57. In the Big 8 tournament in a first-round match, Kansas State over Iowa 81-67.
On the sidelines, Don Trickey was just pointing out that Fred Cook has his jacket on, and he may have been ejected from the ball game.
Usually there's a penalty marker go down for a personal foul and they eject somebody. Burt Jones still trying to work out that condition in his throwing arm and still that disappointed look. His arm is troubled right now, has been since he was hit early in the game. Lydell Mitchell runs off to the left, turns upfield, gets inside the 45-yard line of Pittsburgh. Mike Wagner knocked him down. Lydell Mitchell picked up 5 yards on the carry. The ball's advanced down to the 43-yard line of the Steelers. Time becoming a factor now in the second quarter. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go, and the clock running, and the game tied 7-7. The winner will advance to the AFC Championship against the victor of tomorrow's Cincinnati-Oakland game, another game you'll be hearing on Mutual. You'll also, of course, hear the Rams and the Cardinals from Los Angeles immediately following this handoff to fullback Phil Old. On 2nd and 6, didn't get too much. He got the ball down to maybe the 41-yard line, trying the right side of the Pittsburgh defense, and that's head on by big Dwight White, 6'4", 260 pounds out of East Texas State. You don't run much against this big fella. He is the muscle man up there on that front line. Dwight White. When Mean Joe Green is in there, it's Joe Green in the middle as the tackle that anchors it. But when he's not there, Dwight White is the man. He's got the muscle and the power to do it, and he leads this team with 7.5 sacks on the year. It is third down and almost 5 for Baltimore. 42-yard line of Pittsburgh. Dropping the throw is Marty Domrez. Cocks his arm. Big rush. He eludes it. Now they're going to get him back at the 47-yard line. Ernie Holmes leads the charge. L.C. Greenwood leads the charge. And off the bottom of the pile was Ernie Holmes. He was the first man in there, and so the Pittsburgh Steelers defense again throws back the Colts. Well, they've folded before on pass defense. They do not do what you call great, consistent pass blocking. That's one of the problems Baltimore's had to face. Ernie Holmes, Steve Burness, L.C. Greenwood, all three were looping there, inside looping, and boy, they were there. And they don't finesse you to the ground. They bounce you down. Here is the punt by David Lee. There was a 12-yard loss in that pass attempt. Fair catch is taken at the 20-yard line. After the fair catch is made by Dave Brown, he starts to run. Fisher brings him back. It was a 33-yard punt. And the Steelers will go on offense now with 3:02 to play in the first half. You know, you saw, looking down here at the field, you see Dave Brown take off and run about 7 yards with the ball before they whistled him back. I don't believe he ever put his hand up for the fair catch. I think his partner back there put his hand up, and Brown didn't expect it. Well, at any rate, the officials are going to set the ball right at the 20, and there the Steelers go on offense 1st and 10. Frank Lewis, who has 2 brilliant receptions in this game, is wide to the left. Lynn Swan, the leading receiver for the Steelers, wide to the right. They go to the run. Rocky Flyer power sweeps to the left. He breaks across the 25, gets out to the 26-yard line. Turning upfield, he got a 7-yard gain on the play. Knocked down by the middle linebacker, Chayunsky, who plays the run to either side very well with his great speed. Not a big linebacker, but Chayunsky has made a lot of tackles in this game. It'll bring up 2nd down and a long 7 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2nd down and a long 7. Again, they go to the open formation. Backfield open up. Harrison Blyer. Hand off to Blyer, runs and gets ahead across the 33-yard line. First down, Rocky Blyer. He was hit. The line is going to another fight breaks out. Another fight breaks out downfield between Lloyd Mumford and the tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Larry Brown, and it's quickly settled, and both parties will stay in the game. This could be some second half, Al. I want to tell you something. That's not a good matchup. Larry Brown of the Steelers is 6'4", 230 pounds. Lloyd Mumford, the cornerback,
for Baltimore is 5'9", 176. I don't believe I'd pair off like that. Well, I think Lloyd thought the better of it and backed away. Now the Steelers call for, actually we have a 2-minute warning given. There's a 2-minute warning with the score, the Steelers 7 and the Colts 7.
Wide receiver Glenn Dowdy is Baltimore's resident poet, and he had this to say this week about how the Colts will attack the Steelers today.
There's no question. Ladell catches a lot of passes, and then when they start keying on him, then I'll get the wide receiver catch passes, and Ray Chester keeps things loose in the middle, and it kind of benefits everyone all the way around because if you double team, if I'm getting double teamed, somebody else is open. If Ray is getting double teamed, somebody else is open, and it kind of works that way. And the thing that you try to do is to hit the defense at the right time with the play that you want to succeed on that particular down and distance. I think you've been an originator of a lot of slogans, a lot of chants for the team. What do you get for the Steelers? The Eastern Division Championship, that's all in the past. When we arrive in Pittsburgh, we'll be cooking with gas. There's no question there'll be a lot at stake, but our oven is set to shake and bake.
Glenn Dowdy of the Baltimore Colts, and they're shaking and baking out there on the field, I'm telling you. They're turning black and blue.
We have 2 minutes of playing time in the first half, a 7-7 ball game. The Colts and the Steelers. Pittsburgh has the ball at their own 32-yard line with a first down as they break the huddle. Here's Don Trickey. It is a gray, overcast day in Pittsburgh. Temperature in the 30s. The lights are on. Bradshaw drops to throw on first down. A lot of time now. He's got to roll out to his right. Now he comes back to the left. Now he starts up the field. Somebody lost his shoe. Bradshaw's weaving his way, and he's going to be knocked down for a big loss to the 24. John Dutton finally ran around. Terry Bradshaw must have run 60 yards, but he was going east and west all the time. Didn't get downfield and lost yardage. McLeod was also on the play. Chayunsky and Dutton both were in on that tackle there, but that looked like a pad that flew out. It was a pad that flew off of someone. And it's still on the field as the Steelers quickly go into their 2-minute drill now. They go right into formation without a huddle, and Bradshaw hands off to Franco Harris. He is caught by Ehrman and knocked down to the 24. Good defensive play by Joe Ehrman. And the Steelers signal for and are allotted one of their 3 timeouts, stopping the clock with 1:37 to play in the first half. Well, that's understandable now because Pittsburgh now wants to regroup a little bit. Here they've had, first of all, what appeared to be a broken play, a blown play. Bradshaw caught back there, losing yardage, losing something like 8 yards back to the 25-yard line. 7 yards total. It's 3rd and 17 for them coming up right there. And the Steelers now, realizing that they're a minute and 37 seconds from going in at halftime with a 7-7 tie, they're going to talk things over. Franco Harris carried 14 times so far in this first half, 64 yards. Rocky Bleier has had 8 carries for a total of 18 yards. They've been able to close up on the fullback carry, and we have not seen but one real attempt to run the draw play by Pittsburgh in the game. Bradshaw, incidentally, has 9 passes, 5 completions, 89 yards. 2:17 left to go. 1:37 left to go in the first half. Bradshaw dropping a big rush. He's going to run across the 30. Turns to the outside, gets a great block, and Bradshaw is upended. Spins head over heels down to the 38-yard line. He got a lot of yardage back on a 3rd and long play, 3rd and 17, but he's about 2-3 yards short of the first down. And the Steelers send out their punter, Bobby Walden. A spectacular run by Bradshaw, and even more spectacular pass, and he is limping off the field. Terry Bradshaw is limping off the field. He can barely walk. His right leg is injured. Hit very hard. He is unable to put any weight on the leg as he comes to the sideline. So this game now, both starting quarterbacks have been hurt as Walden hits the punt downfield. Howard steers to the 23, cuts to the right. Chances upfield. Clifton goes down with an assist as he is knocked down at the 29-yard line. Also on the play for the Pittsburgh Steelers was John Cole. So Bradshaw's being attended to. Injury factor very, very prominent in this game, Al. I'm looking through my glasses down at Bradshaw on the sidelines as they group around him there. But the way he was handling that foot, it looked like it might be either a foot injury or an Achilles tendon, because he was almost dragging his foot across the field.
That's right. He couldn't put any weight on the foot at all. He didn't seem to have much mobility in his right foot.
Here is a handoff. Running with the ball is Lydell Mitchell. As he tries to turn upfield on the left side, he falls down at the 32-yard line, a gain of about 2. The clock is running. The Colts are content to go to the locker room with a 7-7 standoff. They're letting the clock run, not using any timeouts. 30 seconds to go. Burt Jones, the starting quarterback for Baltimore, went out early in the...
Today's episode is brought to you by thisdayinthennfl.com. Celebrating football's greatest moments, one day at a time. Listen to classic broadcasts, explore historic games, and keep the legacy of the NFL alive at thisdayinthennfl.com.
First quarter. And it appears he injured the bicep on his right arm. Might have torn a muscle there. He's been warming up, trying to work it out, but he cannot do it. He's tried to throw the football, had nothing on it. And now Bradshaw, the Steelers, goes out with seemingly a very, very serious injury. He's being helped off the field. He cannot move his right leg at all. You don't like to diagnose, but that very well could be an Achilles tendon, because his right foot has no mobility at all. And Bradshaw, it's very apparent, will not play anymore today. Now the gun sounds. That is the end of the first half with the score. The Pittsburgh Steelers 7, the Baltimore Colts 7.
Well, rather bizarre ending to the first half of play. The Colts lost Burt Jones in the first quarter. Marty Domrus did the quarterbacking from that point on and guided the team to a score. And now Terry Bradshaw evidently has been seriously injured, and the house monitor here, you can see he was being helped off the field by two big teammates, and he was not putting any weight at all on the leg. And as Don Creaky said, it could be the ankle, or worse, it could be that Achilles tendon, because he did a complete flip-flop when he was hit, and hit hard, and he went into midair and came over on his backside, and one of his legs was caught up under the other when he hit down and hit hard. So he's got to be a big question mark, and more likely he's probably through for this ball game and maybe for the playoffs. But this has turned into a bitter ball game. There have been about 3 or 4 fights that broke out in the second quarter, and whether that's going to carry over into the second half remains to be seen. Now, once again, here's Al Wester.
A 7-7 ball game at halftime here at Three Rivers Stadium. Al Wester, Don Cricky, John Morad, our Mutual Network crew, along with 50,350 rabid Pittsburgh fans. I understand only 500 tickets were sent to Baltimore. That was all. That's just up the road a little piece, but not a lot of fans were given a chance to get out here because the Steeler fans had them all. Bradshaw, Terry Bradshaw, the quarterback of the Steelers, injured just seconds before the first half ended. He was hit, upended, a tremendous tackle made defensively possible by Tom McLeod. Flipped him completely over his shoulder, and Terry is being helped off of the field. He can barely move that right leg of his as he moves across the way. Stats, John Morad has them on the first half. Pittsburgh 9 first downs, Baltimore 5. Baltimore 44 yards total offense, that's all. In a tie ball game. The 44 yards came by rushing. There is no passing yardage for Baltimore. Pittsburgh has 169 yards total, 94 on the ground, 75 passing. Now, Baltimore completed 3 of 8, but remember, they had a lot of lost yardage on some of the passes they threw. Pittsburgh completed 5 of 9. In the penalty department, 20 yards against Pittsburgh, 15 against Baltimore. Fairly even, although it is a hotly contested football game. 32 offensive plays for the Steelers and 27 for Baltimore. We'll have more of our halftime activities after station identification. This is Mutual, your news and sports radio network. I just don't believe it, but running out of the dugout and running across this field as though nothing had happened, quarterback Terry Bradshaw of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Don Cricky.
I'll tell you, Al, down in the main press area, you hear speculation on what it could be, how serious. Was it an Achilles? Was it a fractured bone? I've never seen a player go off more lame than Terry Bradshaw. Could put no weight on it. Talk down there that it could be a very serious injury, keep him out the rest of the way. And as you point out, as the Steelers come out, he leads them out running. You talk about a fast healer, he wrote the book.
Terry Bradshaw is back and warming up. We'll have to see how Burt Jones is. He, of course, hurt the bicep on his right arm, his throwing arm, early in the first quarter. And Marty Domrey's come in and has quarterbacked the Colts well. He's thrown for their only touchdown. It is a 7-7 game, and it's going to be one great second half. Really tough football in the cold of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The arc lights are on under these gray skies. Now, Jarrella has the ball teed up at his 35. He approaches it and hits it. Spinning kickoff will carry to the 13-yard line. Bruce Laird takes it there straight ahead across the 20, across the 30, and all the way out to the 35-yard line before he is brought down. Randy Grossman was down to make the stop for the Pittsburgh Steelers as the Baltimore Colts send out their offense, and Jones is not coming in. Marty Domrey is back in at quarterback. All right, the big front four of the Pittsburgh Steelers goes back to work now. Defensively, they've held Baltimore to 44 yards in the first half. Domrey has Glenn Dowdy wide to the left. He caught the touchdown pass. Domrey drops the throw, going for the home run ball. Roger Carr going deep, and it's overthrown. And excellent coverage is afforded by J.T. Thomas, number 24. As Marty Domrey's on the first play from scrimmage in the second half unloads a 60-yard pass. They were going for the big one, and it was overthrown 5 yards ahead of intended receiver Roger Carr at the far side of the field. The ball fell incomplete at the 10. Hobbling to the sidelines is the free safety, Glenn Edwards. He slipped down on that play. Edwards of the Steelers at the free safety spot, and he's coming over and being replaced in the defensive backfield there. He, of course, has been troubled by that ankle sprain. It is now 2nd and 10 as the Steelers sellout crowd comes alive. The Pittsburgh defense digs in. Here's the handoff. Lydell Mitchell runs wide, turns upfield, and is knocked down hard at the 36-yard line. Got less than 2 yards. Andy Russell, the veteran from Missouri, 6'2", 220 pounds. Now in his 11th season, made the tackle a gain of only a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 9 for the Baltimore Colts. That's Dan Devine's boy. Andy Russell, one of his boys from the University of Missouri. Dan called him one of the greatest linebackers he ever coached in college football. And he's turned out to be equally outstanding as a professional. Andy Russell. Now here is Domrey dropping the throw. The big rush against him. He's got to run out of the pocket. Puts the ball up. It is incomplete at the 45-yard line. And a penalty marker is down. We might have a roughing the passer call. Personal foul. No intentional grounding is signaled. Domrey thought it was roughing the passer because he was jumping up and down, clapping his hands. And a Pittsburgh Steeler player was talking to the referee, and it is against the Steelers. And it is roughing the passer. You're right, Don. You called it. It is a roughing the passer call. Personal foul, roughing the passer, and that is the call. And so it is an automatic first down for the Baltimore Colts. The ball is out to midfield. Very aggressive, tough Pittsburgh Steelers team has been penalized often in this game. They have 4 penalties now for 35 yards, and 3 of them have kept Colts drives alive. Baltimore had to throw the football, punt the football. Domrey's rolling out to his right, running with the ball. Domrey is hit very hard as he goes down to the 42. I imagine Ted Marchibroda very concerned when his backup quarterback is running the ball into the heart of that Pittsburgh defense. He's already lost his starter. At least he's not come back in, Burt Jones, since early in the first quarter. Jack Ham made the hit after an 8-yard run by Marty Domrey down to the 42-yard line of Pittsburgh. He's only run 4 times all year long, Don. 4 times for a total of 46 yards and 1 touchdown. Domrey. He doesn't usually run it. He did it effectively that time. Now the Steelers dig in on defense. The Baltimore Colts have it 2nd and less than 2 at the 42-yard line. Handoff, second back, Lydell Mitchell drives ahead for a first down on a straight-ahead carry. Bill Olds, the 225-pound fullback out of Nebraska, led the blocking. And Lydell Mitchell was right behind him to advance the ball down to the 39-yard line of Pittsburgh. Steve Furness knocked him down. White, Holmes, Furness, and Greenwood across the defensive front of the Steelers. Russell, Lambert, and Ham back the line. Blunt and Thomas are at the corners. Mike Wagner's one of the safeties, and now back there with him is Donnie Shell, replacing injured Glenn Edwards. On 1st and 10, the Colts go to a tight formation. No wide receivers. Handoff goes to Lydell Mitchell. He is caught from behind and knocked down by L.C. Greenwood. Got back to the line of scrimmage, and that was all as he tried to run wide to the left. And L.C. Greenwood ran him down. And so it'll be 2nd down and 10 now. Actually, 2nd and 11 where they're starting the ball. There's a loss of almost a yard. Great pressure being put on by that front four. Dwight White, L.C. Greenwood, Ernie Holmes, Steve Burnett. The big four for Pittsburgh. The linebackers, Jack Ham, Andy Russell, Jack Lambert, all of them coming. Russell has been constantly blitzing today from the right side. Gary Hanratty is warming up for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the near sideline. The Steeler offense has not been out in the second half. Domray's dropping the throw on 2nd and 11. Gets time. Lost the pass up to Raymond Chester. Overthrown at the 10 and almost intercepted. Making a diving attempt at the ball was Don Shell, number 31. Down at the 13-yard line. Had both hands on it. Lost it as he fell out of bounds. It was overthrown for Raymond Chester, the tight end. That'll bring up 3rd down and 11 now for the Baltimore Colts to the 40-yard line. 3rd and 11 for the Colts to the 40-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The game is tied 7-7. National Football League playoff action coming to you on Mutual. Lydell Mitchell and Don McCauley now to set back. Domray's dropping straight back to throw. Plants himself at the Steeler 49. Fires in the far flat. Almost caught by Glenn Dowdy. At the 25-yard line. He went up, got one hand on the ball, then the ball, and Dowdy came down incomplete. And so now the Pittsburgh Steelers send in their punt return unit. Baltimore will have to punt again penalty after penalty, and actually in total there's only been 4 against the Steelers, but every one has kept the Baltimore drive alive. There have been 3 penalties against the Steelers on punts. After Baltimore had to give up the football, they got it back in a 1st down and penalties against Pittsburgh. It is a 7-7 game. David Lee takes the snap at his 47, hits the ball at the Steelers 48. Angles it for the sidelines, and he did a big job for the Baltimore Colts as it goes out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. At the 7. A 33-yard punt, but it was angled out of bounds inside the 10. And so the Steeler offense comes out on the field, and Terry Bradshaw's in the quarterbacking. I wouldn't have given you a dime for his chance to get back into this ball game or any ball game the way he went off at halftime. Bradshaw is back to call the signals. That was a great punt by David Lee. It pushed the Steelers all the way back to the 7-yard line. The iron curtain, the steel curtain of Pittsburgh managed to hold. Well, there's the timeout down there, so with the score, the Steelers 7, Baltimore 7.
Well, in other doings, Los Angeles Rams coach Chuck Knox doesn't know who he'll start at quarterback against the St. Louis Cardinals until the pregame warm-ups for today's NFC game. Starter James Harris was hampered by a sore arm at the end of the season, and Ron Jaworski looked pretty good in the victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers a week ago. So it's very likely that Jaworski will be calling the signals. The outstanding receiver is Mel Gray, and of course, back for the Cardinals, and a plus for them as they get ready for the Rams today is the return of Jackie Smith, one of the great tight receivers in pro football. He has been a great tight end for the St. Louis Cardinals and holds many club scoring records, and he'll be back healthy for today's game for the first time since November.
On 1st down, the Steelers go to Franco Harris. Breaks off the right side and across the 10-yard line. He got the ball out from the 7-yard line out to the 13. Gianski, the middle linebacker, made the hit. And so the Pittsburgh Steelers now have the ball 2nd down and 6. As on this bitter cold day in Pittsburgh, the Steeler following comes alive. It seems like almost everybody in this arena. Three River Stadium has on a black and gold stocking cap, the colors of the Steelers. Hand off to Harris. Ahead for 1st down yardage. Fumble. The football is fumbled. The Baltimore Colts recover. Franco Harris fumbles the football. It's recovered at the 20-yard line by Nelson Munzie. So the Steelers now have turned the ball over 3 times, twice in interceptions. One led directly to Baltimore's only score. 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. A fumble early in the ball game gave it away. A fumble here early in the third quarter. And Baltimore now has another big break. Don, those breaks are costly things. The man who was responsible for that fumble was Fred Cook, the big defensive right end. A fumble here early in the third quarter, and Baltimore now has another big break. Don, those breaks are costly things. The man who was responsible for that fumble was Fred Cook, the big defensive right end. And so the Colts come up with a big defensive play, and they have the ball at the 20-yard line of Pittsburgh, 1st and 10, moving right to left in the third quarter, dressed in white and blue. Damrays rolls out. He's going to run, and he is really drilled as he gets down to the 16. It was a called play. Damrays faked up the middle and rolled out to the left. Started straight ahead, and he bounces right up as he was hit head-on by Glenn Edwards, who's back in the game. Mel Blunt also was on the hit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so it'll be 2nd down and 6 now for Baltimore. Almost to the 15-yard line of Pittsburgh. The game is tied, 7-7. We have 10 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Bill Olds and Lydell Mitchell align on an I set. Mitchell is the deep back. Damrays, the quarterback, takes the snap, goes to Mitchell, runs off the right side and rockets down to the 10-yard line. He was tripped to the 13, but dove ahead down to the 10. He's very close to a first down. Steve Furness was the man who got an arm on him. But the carry is going to be about a yard short of a first down, perhaps less than that, Al Wester. Oh, Jack Ham, the linebacker on the left side for Pittsburgh, was blitzing on the play, and the big fullback, Bill Olds, went straight ahead and really clobbered him. Ham got up briskly, but he knew he had been hit. Damrays, the quarterback with 2 tight ends in the game, takes the snap, hands off again, he gives up the middle, and McCauley dives over the top. He had to get down inside the 10. I don't know if he did. If he got it, it would be by inches. The Baltimore Colts players around the unpiling are signaling we've got it. The officials, I think, are going to bring out the chains. We've had a signal for an official timeout. Lindsey Nelson and Lon Simmons are standing by at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And immediately following this battle between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, we'll be going out to Los Angeles for the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. The second playoff game right here over many of these mutual stations. The Baltimore Colts got the first down. Don McCauley's carry was good for the first down. He advanced the ball inside the 10. And now the Colts will break the huddle, 1st and goal inside the Pittsburgh 10-yard line. The game is tied 7-7. And Baltimore, with a 4th turnover, is now challenging for the go-ahead point. Already well within field goal range, they have 1st and goal inside the 10. Not quite to the 9. Handoff Mitchell. Drives straight ahead. Lydell Mitchell powers his way down close to the 5-yard line. He was hit hard at about the 7 and then fell over and got down close to the 5. Lambert hit him. Baltimore's running game has been primarily right at the Pittsburgh defense. They're trying to open up that middle. Elmo Colette, the right guard. Bob Pratt, the left guard. Ken Mendenhall, the center. All 3 of Baltimore. Coming off of the ball on a quick snap. They're trying to open it between Ernie Holmes and Steve Furness, and that's where they've been running successfully. It is 2nd and goal from the 6. Here's the snap. Handoff. It goes to Mitchell. He is knocked down by Lambert. Lambert hit him at the line of scrimmage, and Mitchell still fell ahead inside the 5. Got the ball close to the 4, so he picked up a yard and a half. Lambert making a big defensive play. He shot the gap, was coming on a blitz, and he was keying on Mitchell. He thought they were going to go to Mitchell. And now it will be 3rd and goal from just inside the 5 for Baltimore. And Marty Damrays wants a timeout. A timeout on the field with the score. The Baltimore Colts 7, the Pittsburgh Steelers 7.
One of the consistent defensive standouts for the Steelers the past decade has been all-league linebacker Andy Russell. He talks about today's match with the Colts.
key to this game is to prepare ourselves well, to know what Baltimore likes to do, and then play with a lot of knowledge and concentration. They try to possess the football. They have a good running team, like to run the football. If they can run it, they'll run it. Like to get the football at their backs. And we'll attempt to design our defenses in such a way that we can take away what they like to do best. Baltimore will be coming here like the Steelers did back in '72 with a lot of enthusiasm. What does an experienced team try to do to stop that enthusiasm? You try to take it away from them by beating them both physically and with your techniques and with your scheme. So enthusiasm is greatly overrated because everybody's got it.
That was linebacker Andy Russell, an All-American, a former All-American at Missouri.
You can't say enough about the tremendous job Monty Darmers has done. Coming in as Bert Jones went out injured early in the first quarter, Darmers has done a tremendous job. Traded from San Diego to Baltimore in 1972. He was the first-round draft choice in '69. Young Darmers, who graduated from Columbia University, is by trade an anthropologist. He's done a big job, indeed he has, through only 10 regular season passes, as Bert Jones had such a great year, but when he was called on, he completed 8 of those 10. Now it is 3rd and goal from just inside the 5. Here's the snap. Domrey's looks to throw, puts it in the flat. The ball is slapped down by the Pittsburgh Steelers' Jack Lambert. The middle linebacker, Jack Lambert, dove with the football. It was intended to Don McCauley. It was running it down and out, coming out of the backfield, and Lambert dove and slapped it down right in front of McCauley at the goal line. That was a beautifully placed pass, and it took a tremendous effort there by Jack Lambert to knock the ball down. And now the Baltimore Colts will look for the go-ahead points on a point-blank field goal. It'll be a 17-yarder by Tony Linhart. Here's the snap, it's good. Set down, the ball is drilled up, and it is good. And the Baltimore Colts take the lead. The Baltimore Colts take the lead on the field goal by Linhart. With 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, it's a 10-7 game, Baltimore. The underdog Colts coming from behind. They trailed 7-0, now lead the game 10-7. Well, they're coming back up the field. Baltimore will kick off, and of course, the Steelers have 8 minutes here in this third period. But things have just gone up one side and down the other as far as Pittsburgh goes. All the breaks have gone against them. They've fumbled away the ball twice. They've thrown a pair of interceptions. It looked like they were going to lose their quarterback, their starting quarterback. A break for them, and Bradshaw is back in there, and he will be running the ball club after they get this kick underway. Linhart has it teed up. A 10-7 ball game, Baltimore. Linhart hitting the ball right to left. Squid kicked it down the field. It is fielded very nicely, though, by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Reggie Harrison picked it up and crashes out across the 40 to the 45-yard line. Reggie Harrison got the ball. He was enough back to block on the return. Dave Fair knocked it down, and the Steelers come out of it with good field position. They have the ball first and 10 at their 45. That was an intended play. Linhart with kicking the ball off the artificial turf field here in Pittsburgh. But it's on the one hop. Reggie Harrison, who is a running back, picked it up. He was in the block. Now Bradshaw, who miraculously came back, seemingly seriously injured. The end of the first half, comes back to start the third quarter. Hands off to Rocky Blyer. Tries to turn the corner, and he has stopped cold. He lost the yard. Tried to come wide to the right. Giamski and Laird both hit him. So it'll be second down and 11 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the ball at their 39-yard line. On the 29th of this month, that's next Monday night, the Gator Bowl game, Florida versus Maryland, over many of these mutual stations. Then on the 31st, the Sugar Bowl game from New Orleans, Alabama and Penn State. Again, another mutual presentation. It is second down, a long 11. Bradshaw drops the throw. Now he's going to run, and he's running well. Crosses the midfield stripe and goes down to the 49. He'll be short of the first down. It'll bring up a 3rd and 4. Bradshaw, rather than take a hit, dove to the ground. Tom McLeod was quickly on him. Well, Don, I think this proves one thing. Bradshaw elected to run with that football. It proves that Bradshaw is not, or was not, seriously injured to the point where it would have been any real problem after coming out the second half. I was waiting to see if he'd ever run the football again and take a chance. He just did, so it indicates that Bradshaw's not too worried about the foot or the leg that gave him trouble. But he's limping a little bit now after that run on the injured right leg. He might have had a muscle spasm in the way. He absolutely could put no weight on the leg when they helped him off the field. Bradshaw drops. He puts the ball up. Frank Lewis drops the ball to the 35. Running it down and out, Frank Lewis had the ball on his hands at the 35-yard line of Baltimore and dropped it. And that brings up 4th down, and the Steelers will have to punt it back to Baltimore. Lewis had it at the 35. He had it in first down territory and let the ball get away from him. Jackie Wallace couldn't defend against him. It was to the outside. Only Lewis had a crack at it. He should have had a pass. Howard Stevens is back deep. Bobby Walden has hit 2 punts earlier today. He is standing back at his 38-yard line. Here is the snap. He angles for the sideline, gets the short punt off. A fair catch is signaled for and made at the 18-yard line. Rick Vogt makes the fair catch signal. And so, after a 31-yard punt, the Baltimore Colts with a 10-7 lead go back on offense, 1st and 10.
You know, Frank O'Hara thinks the media image of the Baltimore Colts as this year's Cinderella team is a lot of bunk. Said Harris, if you think of Baltimore, they have a history of being in the playoffs. If anybody is a Cinderella team, we still are, said Harris. After so many years being at the bottom, we've finally gotten there. It took us a long time to get here, and we're not done being there. Plus, Harris added, it makes us feel you're talking about a bunch of old men. But basically, we're still one of the youngest teams in the league. So save that rah-rah stuff for somebody else. Save for an early season loss to Buffalo and O.J. Simpson, and then that season-closing defeat at the hands of the Rams at Los Angeles last week in a game that really meant nothing, the Steelers have been impressive. Their defense, which is always their strength, was backed up this year by a balanced and much smoother offense. Their 3 top offensive stars had their best seasons ever. Bradshaw completed nearly 58% of his passes for 18 touchdowns, and was intercepted a career low of but 9 times. Harris had a career-high 1,246 yards. That's his 3rd 1,000-yard season. And receiver Lynn Swann averaged nearly 16 yards per reception on 49 catches, and he scored an AFC-high 11 TDs. Harris said his team is ignoring all the press reviews. He said, we know what the fans expect us to do. Now we have to go out there and do it.
Baltimore goes to the run to McCauley on 1st down. He advances the ball from the 18 to the 20. And there it'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Colts. They have a 10-7 lead. The clock shows 5:55 and running in the 3rd quarter. Baltimore 10, the heavily favored Pittsburgh Steelers, the defending world champions of pro football 7. They've made a lot of mistakes, the Steelers. And Baltimore has capitalized. Here is a hit. Oh, man, what a hit by L.C. Greenwood. L.C. Greenwood made the hit. A vicious hit on Lydell Mitchell. At the 19-yard line, the hardest hit of the game, Mitchell tried to slant off right to left, and he was chopped neck high by L.C. Greenwood. He got him on the inside shoulder pad, the right shoulder. What a drive. Greenwood gets planted in like a bullet. The big 245-pounder lifted Mitchell up and drove him back to the turf. Now it'll be 3rd down and 9. Oh, the Pittsburgh Steelers left early. And penalty markers go down. They're signaling they were drawn offside. We'll wait for the official ruling. 3 penalty markers are down. Illegal procedure against the Baltimore Colts. So instead of 3rd and 9, it'll be 3rd and 14. And they will set the ball back to the 14-yard line of Baltimore. now a Colt player starts to hobble off the field. David Taylor, a starting offensive tackle, and a very good one. Unheralded, but he's developed into a fine football player, goes out, and Ed George comes in. He was All-Canada in the Canadian Football League. Dave Taylor apparently has injured a leg. Marty Domrez is the quarterback for Baltimore, has been since early in the first quarter. Third down and 14. Here is Domrez dropping the throw inside his 5. Puts the ball up. It's intercepted. Nell Blunt picks the ball off. He's inside the 15, inside the 10, and down to the 7-yard line. Nell Blunt all through, goes high in the air and intercepts. And now the Steelers come up with a big turnover. An interception, a great moment is Pittsburgh now has possession of that football. Pittsburgh has it at the 7-yard line of the Baltimore Colts. What a time to pick one off. What a great interception. And he got 10 yards in return yardage strictly because those Colts were all over him. And there was a big horde of Steelers fighting off the Colts. It was like 20 men moving together down the field, and the Steelers were winning the pushing war. It is now first and goal for the Steelers' 7-yard line. Bradshaw gives off to Blyer inside the 5, inside the 2. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Bradshaw hands off to Blyer, and Rocky Blyer rips off the right side. He is picked up in the air and hugged by Franco Harris as the Steelers have now come back to take the lead. 13-10. 7 yards in one play. After the interception and the run back to the 7-yard line, the Steelers now go on the boards to make it 13-10. And here comes the try for the point after. Done. Bobby Walden will hold. Roy Geraldo will try it. Soccer-style kicker. Perfect snap, touchdown. He pops it right through. It's a 14-10 game. The Pittsburgh Steelers have now come back to take the lead with 4:47 left to play in the third quarter. A tremendous football game here at Pittsburgh. The world champions, the defending world champions, the Steelers, against the amazing turnaround Baltimore Colts, a team that was 2-12 last year and has now won 9 consecutive games to win the Eastern Division of the AFC. And to come into this playoff game against Pittsburgh. And after trailing 7-0, Baltimore came back to lead 10-7. Now Pittsburgh has taken the lead. It has been the Pittsburgh defense. The Pittsburgh defense is the key to this game so far. A big interception by Nell Blunt, the subsequent return, and then the touchdown run by Rocky Blyer from 7 yards out. Now Geraldo will kick off. Bruce Laird is back deep for Baltimore to our right. A high kickoff, but not deep. Laird fields it at the 13. Crosses the 20. And gets out to the 30-yard line. And there the Colts go on offense. First and 10. Reggie Harrison was down to make the play. That's one of the problems playing a great football team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. It can blow open on you any time. And that's exactly what happened just moments ago. Baltimore down deep had the problem of trying to get the ball out of their own territory, and down there too deep they elected to go to the air. That interception, that return, and one big play later, and the ball game had changed. Pittsburgh out in front 14-10. The Baltimore Colts have the ball now. First and 10. They're moving right to left. Preston White and blue to hand off to Lydell Mitchell. He gets a hit for maybe 2 yards, and that was all beside the left side of the Pittsburgh defense. And quickly, the Pittsburgh front four breaks down the offensive blocking of the Colts. On the tackle, L.C. Greenwood. 6'6", 245 from Arkansas A&M. Steeler defense, the steel curtain. And the black jerseys, the gold pants, the black helmets with the gold and white trim. Second down and 8 now for Baltimore at the Colts 32-yard line. Domrez takes the snap. He fakes. End around. It goes to Raymond Carr. He's going to be caught way back at the 19-yard line. Jack Ham had it diagnosed all the way. The Colts go to their back the ball at the 19-yard line of Baltimore. And now it's going to be 3rd down and 22. Now Webster, Pittsburgh's defense going right back to work, this time with the strong side linebacker, Jack Ham, just playing that end around beautifully. He handled Roger Carr for a big loss. Now Domre is faced with a very difficult assignment. 3rd and 22. He'll have to throw the ball. He's not going to be able to. He's snapped right away. Domre took the snap, looked for somebody behind him, then put his head down, and Dwight White knocked him to the turf. And so the Colts will have to punt again at Pittsburgh Three Rivers Stadium. Is a celebration of black and gold banners and hats being waved in the air. Everyone is standing, cheering this great Pittsburgh defense as David Lee is now in to punt for Baltimore. We have 2:45 on the clock running to go in the 3rd quarter. The Steelers have come back to take the lead 14-10. David Lee hits another beautiful punt for the Colts. Brown fumbles the punt but picks it up at the 40. Crosses the 42 and a penalty marker goes down. Dave Brown, who you may recall fumbled the opening kickoff of the game, one of the 4 Baltimore turnovers, fumbled that punt. But it bounced right up to him. He picked it up. I thought they were going to break. I thought actually that he was going to lose the football. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is Mutual, your network for news and sports.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
We have a penalty. It looks like it might be a clip on the return. A big penalty being assessed against the Steelers. They've committed an awful lot of infractions in this game. Amazing that they lead it. That's their 5th penalty for 50 yards, but they've come at critical times. 3 of those penalties came on Baltimore punts, and the Colts, instead of having to give up the football, got a 1st down. Now the ball is set back to the Pittsburgh 27-yard line. The Steelers break the huddle. Lynn Swan comes out to the right. Flank to the left, Frank Lewis. Franco Harris and Rocky Blyer are the running backs. Bradshaw gives to Franco Harris. Crosses the 30, turns the corner. Across the 40, across the 50, and pushed out of bounds to the 46-yard line of Baltimore. Franco Harris with that great wide speed. Dipped in and sprinted out. Turned down the near sideline right below us and ripped it up all the way down to the 46-yard line. A 27-yard gain. And Lynn Swan is helped off the field. He's all right. Just taken up. He's been out for a few plays. Going in to replace him for the Steelers is Reggie Garrett. They caught Big Fred Cook, the defensive left end there. Sailing across, he put the pressure on, expecting the pass. He went sailing across, and Franco Harris just dipped inside of him. Bradshaw sets his team down now. He hands off to Franco Harris, tries the other side, and Harris again is ahead for yardage. Got about 5, turned to the left, turned upfield, put his head down. Got such tremendous speed for a man his size. Franco Harris stands 6'2", weighs 230 pounds. As we mentioned, rushed for over 1,200 yards this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 4.8 a carry. Bruce Laird, both in there to make that stop, but they are having a lot of trouble stopping this big man. Harris goes at it like a bull and just drives for every yard. Great offensive blocking from Cole, Clack, Mansfield, Mullins, and Gravel. Bradshaw drops the throw, puts it up. Flyer with a tremendous reception, knee high, caught the ball down to the 37-yard line of Baltimore. A diving reception just above his shoes. Dan White went after him. That ball was down low, right on his shoestring to catch there by Rocky Blyer, and right on top of him, number 53, Stan White. That's short of the 1st down, though, by about a yard. Just about a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Steelers at the 37-yard line of Baltimore. We have 1 minute to go in the 3rd quarter. Pittsburgh leads 14-10. Handoff. Franco Harris goes up the middle for the 1st down. And more. He got 5 yards down to the 33. Jackie Wallace, one of the safeties for Baltimore, made the stop. But the Steelers keep their drive alive with straight-ahead power football. On Wednesday night, Sam Hupp and I will be in New Orleans at the fabulous Dome Stadium. We will be bringing you Alabama-Penn State, the Sugar Bowl Football Classic, the 41st annual game. Franco Harris has now gone over 100 yards. He has 106 yards and 19 carries. He gets the ball again, and again he takes it ahead, inside the 30, fighting down the right side. He comes down to the 28-yard line. Making the play for Baltimore was number 72, Fred Cook, the left end. Fred Cook, Mike Barnes, Joe Ehrman. Franco Harris limps back to the huddle a little bit, but he's going to stay in the game as the Steelers are now starting to grind it out. And that will be the final play of the third quarter. The gun sounds. That is the end of the third quarter with the score. The Pittsburgh Steelers 14, the Baltimore Colts 10. And now
for 14 NFL seasons, Ted Marchibroda labored in relative obscurity as an assistant coach under Bill McPeak and George Allen. Last February, the one-time pro quarterback was thrust into the most difficult mission of his career, coaching the Baltimore Colts, a 71 playoff team that fell to consecutive seasons of 5-9, 4-10, and 2-12. Well, his touch proved magic as the Colts finished 10-4 and won their last 9 games of the regular season. And today they're in Pittsburgh doing battle with the world champions for the right to advance to the AFC Championship game. If they win, Marchibroda, a 44-year-old native of Franklin, PA, just might give Santa Claus a good run as the most popular man around the Chesapeake Bay area this Christmas season. Marchibroda said, "I'll admit I didn't expect it to be this good this first year here at Baltimore. Even with a Christmas Day practice, he stands number 1 with his players. They say he's a heck of a man. There just isn't too much we can do for Ted Marchibroda. He has been a great coach."
Coming over to the sidelines to talk to his coach, Terry Bradshaw, had moved over there to confer with Chuck Noll. Now he's gone back to the huddle. We've got some big ones coming your way. Remember, tomorrow the playoff games, the Gator Bowl on Wednesday evening from Jacksonville, Florida. On Monday night, Monday night, the Gator Bowl game, Florida, Maryland. And then on Wednesday night, on New Year's Eve night, the Sugar Bowl, Alabama and Penn State. The old pro, Sam Hupp, and I will be teaming together to bring you the play-by-play action of that ball game. Should be a good one. Third quarter stats: Baltimore 8 first downs, Pittsburgh 13. Baltimore 68 yards total, that's all. Pittsburgh 228. Now as we open the fourth quarter, this is Don Cricky with Al Wester at Free River Stadium in Pittsburgh as Bradshaw gives out to Franco Harris, breaks into open field inside the 20. And down to the 12-yard line where he's knocked out of bounds. Running wide to the right, Jackie Wallace finally got Franco Harris, as Harris is personally tearing up the Baltimore Colts defense. Another first down as Franco Harris, well over 100 yards now, has run with the ball 20 times. He's gained 120 yards. That little dip inside off the tackle in between Fred Cook and Mike Barnes. Franco has done it 4 times now out of the last 6 runs that he's carried the ball. The ball spotted just outside the Baltimore 12. Hand off to Blyer, and he's tripped up for a loss. Fine defensive play by Joe Ehrman, number 76. He caught Rocky Blyer coming right to left in the counter play around the ankles, and Blyer went down for a loss of a yard on the play. And it'll now be second down and 11. Second and 11 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, just outside the 12-yard line of the Baltimore Colts. Bradshaw with his team moving right to left here in the fourth quarter, early in it. Hands off to Franco Harris. Again, he rips down the middle, fumbles football, is fumbled in the end zone, and goes out of the end zone. The ball goes out of the end zone. It is ruled a touchback, and it turns over to the Baltimore Colts. There are no points for the Steelers. That's exactly correct. It goes over to the Baltimore Colts. The ball was hit out of the end zone there. What a break. What a way to cut off a drive. And the Steelers looked like they were on the way. Coming to the sidelines, Terry Bradshaw, a little upset. And if I detect a slight lift, too, still there with the quarterback of the Steelers as he comes off the field. So the fumble ball by Franco Harris was inadvertently kicked into the end zone by somebody. Everybody went after it, went out of the end zone. That is ruled a touchback, and the ball turns over to the Colts. Hand off to Lydell Mitchell. He got to the line of scrimmage and then was hit by a freight train. L.C. Greenwood, the first man to hit him. The Steelers really shutting down the Baltimore offense now. They're shutting off that first down run. Subsequent long yardage plays that Domers has to work with make it very difficult for him to throw as the Steeler pass rush is so intense. It is second down and over 9 for the Colts, just outside their 20. Here's Domres bootlegging, and now it's Burt Jones back in the game. Penalty markers go down as Jones runs and gets out to the 30-yard line. But a penalty marker went down. A penalty marker was down in the Baltimore backfield. We might have had illegal motion in the Colts backfield. Illegal motion. There's a surprise, Don. Burt Jones back in offensively. He's well enough to run. He's done that well all year. Burt Jones, a very good running quarterback. During the regular season, he was their second leading rusher, gained over 320 yards, averaged almost 7 yards a carry, and scored 3 touchdowns on the ground while he was passing for 18. Burt Jones has been out of the game since early in the first quarter. In first down, Pittsburgh has 12, Baltimore 8. Total offense, the Steelers have 230 yards to 64 for the Baltimore Colts. They have dominated the numbers, the statistics, but not the scoreboard. It is 14-10 Pittsburgh. Fourth quarter, 13 minutes to play. Jones hands off again. The Steelers chop down the run for almost no gain at all. A straight ahead carry by Don McCauley is upended by defensive tackle Steve Burnett. And that will bring up third down and 14. As Burnett making the hit after a gain of only a yard. Earlier in the game, the entire Baltimore run was directed right at the middle of the Pittsburgh defense, trying to catch those big, quick linemen moving out, stunning different alignments on the rush. Now Pittsburgh is shutting down the Baltimore offense. Burt Jones is the quarterback. He is dropping to throw for the first time since he hurt his arm. Now he runs out of the pocket. Turns the corner. And Jones steps out of bounds at about the 24-yard line, and the Baltimore Colts will have to punt the ball. Al Lester. Bill Bunt was the man who came over the corner over there to put the pressure, or to at least lock in Jones. Jones, to avert being tackled, very wisely stepped out of bounds. But Burt Jones is back in action. What the problem was, we have not been told. He was out for most of the first half. Now here in the fourth quarter back. But they're going to have to kick Baltimore from their 23. David Lee will hit the ball at about the 13. Takes the snap of the 9, hits the ball. Another good punt by Lee. A high, wobbly spiral. Field is the 31. You're running straight ahead. Gets out across the 45 to the 47. And the Pittsburgh offense comes back out. The Pittsburgh offense outdistancing the Colts in total yardage 230 to 64, but leading only 14-10 with 12:06 to play. Lloyd Mumford is the man who wrapped up the man returning the kick there. Wrapped him down very sharply, but what a beautiful position now Pittsburgh has. Great field position. There's timeout down there with the score. Pittsburgh 14, the Colts 10. Now this word.
Some baseball news today. Bob Lemon, a leading candidate to be chosen for the Baseball Hall of Fame next month, today was named pitching coach of the New York Yankees, replacing the ailing Whitey Ford. Lemon, a hard-working right-hander, was converted to pitching after failing as an outfielder and infielder. He was a 20-game winner 7 times during his career with Cleveland from 1946 through 1958. Lemon compiled a lifetime record of 207 wins, 128 losses, and also had hit 37 home runs as a pitcher. Lemon replaces Ford on the Yankee coaching staff, which also includes Elston Howard, Dick Hauser, and Yogi Berra, who recently joined Billy Martin. He replaces Whitey Ford, who suffers from a circulatory problem last season. Ford was told by his doctors recently not to do much traveling this year until he gets a little better, so Ford has declined the coaching position with the Yankees for at least 1976. Now let's get back to Pittsburgh.
This is Don Jim Trickey back at Pittsburgh Three River Stadium with Al Webster. It is the fourth quarter. First down, they go to Franco Harris, and he is knocked down for a loss of 3 yards. Bruce Blair, the strong safety, coming up to force the run, looking for Franco Harris to go wide. He did and caught him. So the ball is spotted down at the Pittsburgh Steelers 45-yard line. And there it'll be second down and 12 coming up for the Steelers. 11:40 left to go in the game. Pittsburgh 14, Baltimore 10. Steelers challenged a short time ago, but fumbled. They've turned the ball over 5 times now with fumbles and interceptions. They've been intercepted twice. Here is a swing pass out to Lynn Swan in the right flat. He tries to go upfield if the Colts string it out and defend against him, knock him out of bounds in front of the Baltimore bench for a very short gain. Fred Cook came over to make the hit, number 72. Lynn Swan from Southern California, a former number 1 draft choice of the Pittsburgh Steelers, now in his second year. He caught 49 regular season passes. That was not the normal safety valve type of pass. It was just a little 1-2 almost rhythm pass, a 1-2-3 step by Bradshaw, and a quick throw to the sidelines. But they had it well defensed, Baltimore did. Now a passing down for the Steelers. 3rd and 11. Bradshaw dropping back to his 35. He's going to get hit. Down he goes to the 37. Mike Barnes came in, the left tackle. And Bradshaw tucked the ball in, thought he was going to get hit, and now the Steelers will punt again. Barnes looped to the outside on that play, looped and came completely around the defensive blocker there. Just went to his strong left, went around him, and was in there. There was nobody there to pick him up. He was on top of the quarterback immediately. Bobby Walden standing back at his 24-yard line, waits for the snap. He gets it. Puts his foot into the ball. Gets off a high end-over-end kick that drives Howard Stevens back to his 15. He stops there, looks for the coverage, and he is knocked down at the 20. Look at those Steelers come down and gang tackle. Just a huge wave of grinning black and gold sweeps under the smallest man in the field, Howard Stevens. And the clock is now stopped with 10:48 to play in the game. Oh, that tremendous front coverage by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had 6 men downfield there. There was no way for the little man Stevens to get loose. Apparently they're going to have a timeout there with the score. The Steelers 10, the Steelers 14 and Baltimore 10.
In horse racing, Night Nurse, a strong 6-4 favorite, won the Irish Sweeps Hurdle Classic at Leopardstown, Ireland today. Brendan's Road, a 40-1 shot, was second, and Bunker Hill, a 50-1 shot, finished third. Bunker Hill would have been an ideal horse to win that race with the bicentennial coming up. A horse named Comedy of Errors, probably after the Pittsburgh Steelers, failed in a bid to win the race for the 3rd straight year. Repeating again, Night Nurse, a strong 6-4 favorite, won the Irish Sweeps Hurdles at Leopardstown, Ireland today. Brendan Road was second, and Bunker Hill, a 50-1 shot, finished third. Well, we've got just a little more than 10 minutes left in this ball game, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, despite 5 costly turnovers, are still leading in the game over the fired-up Baltimore Colts by a score of 14-10. But the way the Steelers have been giving the ball away, don't go away. Now let's get back to Three Rivers Stadium.
Bert Jones, the quarterback, takes the snap, hands up the middle. Running hard is Lydell Mitchell for some yardage, not a lot. He might have gotten 3 as he advanced the ball out from the 20 to about the 23-yard line, closer to the 24. White was on the stop for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bert Jones back in at quarterback after injuring his throwing arm. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 7 now for Baltimore. The Colts trailing the Pittsburgh Steelers 14-10. The clock running here in the 4th quarter. 10 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the game. Roger Carr comes out wide to the right from Louisiana Tech. And Burt Jones from LSU drops the throw, puts it up. Oh, it is almost intercepted and almost caught. Diving at the ball was Raymond Chester, the tight end. Also diving at the ball was number 23 of the Steelers, Mike Wagner. It's incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 7. Chester's a big man, and he went down to get that football. I think he got it and landed on his chest, and the ball just squirted away. So he might have held on to that football. The pass was good enough to dive for and to scoop, but he just couldn't hold on, let loose, an incompletion. Raymond Chester, during the regular season, had a big year for Baltimore. 38 pass receptions. The big end is a blocking tight end. Also, it's now 3rd and 7. Jones dropping way back against the rush. They're going to get him back inside the 20-yard line. He is knocked down as he dives ahead back to the 20. That will make it 4th and 10. L.C. Greenwood playing a spirited second half. And big Ernie Holmes led the charge, and now the Colts will have to punt. It's going to be awfully hard to beat this fellow out with the defensive player of the game. Remember, here is the snap to David Lee. Punts the ball, gets it downfield, not too deep. The ball is fumbled by the Pittsburgh Steelers, fallen on, and a penalty marker goes down. And I think, at least the Steelers think the call's going to be against Baltimore. The ball is at the 45-yard line of Pittsburgh. Dave Brown didn't signal for a fair catch. Got the ball, was hit immediately. And I think the ruling interference that he was actually interfered with before he caught the ball. And so that'll be a penalty against the Colts. It'll advance the ball out from the 45-yard line of Pittsburgh all the way down to the 39-yard line of the Baltimore Colts. They marked off the 15 yards from the point of infraction. Well, down so rapidly, the coverage there of Baltimore's was a little bit too enthusiastic. You've got to allow the man a chance to get possession of the football before you hit him. They interfered and made contact before that. You know that Pittsburgh coach Chuck Noll and his staff want to see their team put together a scoring drive. They've moved the ball up and down the field, but have only have a 4-point lead. Bradshaw throws the ball and caught at the 30 by the tight end Larry Brown. Brilliant reception by Brown, who picked it up right off the ground. Bradshaw throwing one of those darts downfield to the 30, and there's a gain of just about 10 yards on the play. That's as close to trapping a football as you'll ever get and get away with it. He made the catch all right, but he was down on the turf when he did it, right in between Stan Wyatt and Jim Chanuski. It is 2nd down and a foot now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The ball just inside the 30-yard line of Baltimore. Steelers moving right to left here in the 4th quarter. Handoff goes to Franco Harris, right side, rips up the middle. Comes inside the 25, turning upfield, goes down to the 22. Down to make the hit was Kionski, 59. Also on the play for the Pittsburgh Steelers was Jackie Wallace, the free safety. But it's a 1st down again for Pittsburgh as Franco Harris keeps grinding it out. He has now run with the ball 24 times, and he has gained 147 yards. Steelers driving with the ball now. They've moved the ball between the 20s, but have had trouble holding on to it once they get down. Again, they go to Franco Harris. Again, he runs up the middle. Again, the great power blocking from the right side opens the way for Franco Harris. He drives down to the 16-yard line. Franco Harris got 6 yards. Beautiful blocking on the right side of that line. Gordon Gravel, Jerry Mullen, and Rocky Blyer leading the way, responsible for giving him the running room. Well, Pittsburgh is looking for the insurance. They need a John Hancock man right now. A touchdown will do it. There you go. 2nd down and 3. Bradshaw takes his time, sets his club down, wide receivers either side. He hands off to Rocky Blyer. He turns inside the 15 and down to the 11. And the clock continues to run. 7 minutes and 35 seconds left to go. 7:30. As the Steelers get the 1st down, and it's 1st and 10 at the 11. Guess who was doing the blocking then? Franco Harris, the man who's already covered over 100 yards on the ground today. A great block by Harris on the strong safety, Bruce Laird. Bradshaw takes the snap, hands off. Franco Harris breaks the tackle inside the 10, inside the 5, dives down to the 3. Franco Harris, power running, is finally knocked down by Lloyd Munford and Nelson Munsey. It looked like he was going to be caught behind the line of scrimmage, and he just outstrengthed everybody and got it down close to the goal line. Linebacker Stan White was the man blitzing from the right side linebacker spot for Baltimore. Had his arms wrapped around him, couldn't hold him as Harris broke the tackle. Instead of losing yardage, he's got it inside the 4-yard line. And the clock continues to run. 6:25 to go. Steelers 14, Baltimore Colts 10. Hand off to Franco Harris, and he's down close to the 2. Down very close to the 2 on the second down carry. They need 2.5 yards for the first down. See where they spot the ball. Very close to motion in the offensive line of Pittsburgh. Their execution was so sharp that they all started to go right with the snap, and it almost looked like motion. Indeed it did, and I'm waiting to see now what the official says on this. Now they're calling the time to bring the sticks in and measure it to see if the first down is there or not. But they are snapping that football, and they are getting the motion of the football team started so exact that it is almost as though they were jumping the gun. Not enough. Not enough for Pittsburgh for the first down. So it'll be third down and inches, and the ball is just outside the 1-yard line. Franco Harris has run with the ball 25 times. He has gained 152 yards for Pittsburgh. And he scored 1 touchdown. With 6:20 to go in the game, the Steelers break the huddle. They have the ball point blank, right in front of the Baltimore Colts end zone line. Bradshaw takes the snap, takes it himself, touchdown Pittsburgh. Bradshaw keeps and dives over the top. And the Pittsburgh Steelers go in front 20-10. Steelers going 39 yards in 7 plays. And they are now in the lead 20-10. 39 yards they move, a 1-yard plunge by Bradshaw, and it looked as though it might have been a planned handoff. It wasn't. Jurella's extra point is driven high into the stands and good. And now is the score, the Pittsburgh Steelers 21 and the Baltimore Colts 10 as a timeout.
Indiana coach Bobby Knight's pride and joy is defense, and his top-ranked Hoosiers exemplified the fact in the opening.
To sudden death. We will be switching you shortly after that out to Los Angeles, where Lindsey Nelson and Lon Simmons are standing by with the second half of our mutual doubleheader. The other playoff game today between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. The Colts break the huddle. This great young football team rallying from a 2-12 record a year ago to a 10-4 record this year in an Eastern Championship. Now must start firing away to get back in the game as time is very much a factor. Jones drops the throw and first down. He looks, swings the pass out to Lydell Mitchell. Across the 10, and Mitchell is knocked down at about the 17-yard line. A gain of pretty close to 5 or 6 yards. Jim Allen made the play on the far side for the Pittsburgh Steelers, along with Nell Blunt. Let's take 5 seconds now for station identification. This is Mutual, your network for news and sports.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
After a gain of 6 on the pass play, the Baltimore Colts in white, moving left to right here in the fourth quarter on a bitter cold day with the temperature dropping in Pittsburgh. A gray sky and the arc lights on. Jones drops the throw. He looks for the swingman. Throws long. A man is open. Glenn Downey has the ball. It's a foot race now. He's down inside the 30 and finally knocked out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Nell Blunt knocks him down at the 24-yard line. Glenn Downey takes a rifle shot from Burt Jones and almost went the distance. He scored once in a 5-yard touchdown reception. 58 yards on the play. A great catch there. Great catch by Dowdy. Mel Blount had to catch him from behind. He managed to do it. 5:10 left to go in the game. A big gainer for the Baltimore Colts, and now they have the ball first and 10 at the 24-yard line of Pittsburgh. Dowdy has caught 2 passes today. One for a touchdown from 5 yards out. That a 58-yarder. Jones dropping the throw. He looks. Here's the rush. He swings it out to Lydell Mitchell. He is caught and dropped at about the 23-yard line. Got only a yard at that. They'll spot the ball down. A gain of only half a yard, actually, and make it second down and about 10 still. Great pursuit for the linebackers, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, both in on the play, along with Steve Furness. And that ball is inside the 25. It's at the 24-yard line with a second down coming up. And that great defense of Pittsburgh to get it to dig in. The Pittsburgh Steelers burned by the long pass play. Now dig in, second down and 10 coming up for the Colts at the 24-yard line of Pittsburgh. Jones drops the throw. He looks, has a man open, swings it out. McCauley has the ball, is knocked down at about the 15-yard line. He will be short of a first down by less than a yard. Jack Lambert knocked him down. On the far side, McCauley swinging out of the backfield, took the pass from Jones, so Jones' arm is well healed. He's throwing the ball beautifully here in the fourth quarter, trying to get the Colts back in it. Third and just about 1 yard to go. The ball just outside the 15-yard line of Pittsburgh. The snap, the handoff, holds is stopped short. Still holds on third. The yard is knocked down short. He tried to go into the right side of the Pittsburgh defense. L.C. Greenwood led the charge, number 68. Along with the middle linebacker, number 58, Jack Lambert. Lambert gets up slowly off the bottom of the pile. Of course, Baltimore has 2 shots at getting that first down. There's no thought of a field goal here. They have got to go. Fourth down coming up for the Colts as they break the huddle. They'll have 2 yards to go for the first down at the 16-yard line of Pittsburgh. Jones takes the snap, rolling out. He's looking. He puts the ball up. It's caught for a first down at the 8-yard line. That's Kennedy that made that grab in there. Jimmy Kennedy, the tight end that had come in to play the double the tight ends with Ray Chester, and he certainly caught one in the breadbasket, Don. Big play for the Baltimore Colts. Again, a well-thrown ball by Burt Jones. 3 minutes left to go in this game now, and the clock is running. Jim Kennedy in the double tight end formation. Now Burt Jones and the Colts break the huddle. Roger Carr comes wide to the right. The Colts are moving left to right. They're in all white uniforms with blue numerals and that traditional blue horseshoe on the helmet. Pitch back goes to Lydell Mitchell. Turns the corner, turns upfield. And Lydell Mitchell is crashed down to the 3-yard line. He was really stung in there, but he got yardage. Lambert hit him, and Lydell Mitchell is flat on the field and apparently knocked out. And with good reason. He really took a shot. Burt Jones has thrown the ball 10 times, has completed 6 for 93 yards. The big one, a 58-yard gainer to Glenn Dowdy. Beautiful interference as they swung around that side. Jones seems to handle his ball club and control them so well when he's quarterbacking. He handed off there to Lydell Mitchell, but out in front of Mitchell, he had the left guard, Bob Pratt, and the second-string left tackle, Ed George, who is in there, young rookie from Wake Forest. The 2 of them got out in front there of Lydell Mitchell and gave him running room to get down there to the 3-yard line. Baltimore knocking on the door now, and they know they've got to score now and hope for a break to be able to get another touchdown, because the touchdown and a field goal just won't do it. 21-10, the Steelers lead in the ball game. Over many of these mutual stations, On Monday night, the Gator Bowl game, the battle between Florida and Maryland. Lindsey Nelson and I will be in Jacksonville, Florida. Then Sam Huff will join me on New Year's Eve at the Sugar Bowl, and many of these mutual stations will bring you Alabama, Penn State, the Sugar Bowl, the 41st Sugar Bowl encounter, right here over many of these same mutual stations. I'm looking forward to working with Sam because he's one of the fine analysts in pro football. It is now second down and goal for the Baltimore Colts from the 3-yard line. Burt Jones is dropping the throw. He looks into the end zone, throws it to his tight end, Raymond Chester. He can't catch the ball. Right on his hands, and he lost it. Incomplete. It'll be third and goal from 3 yards out. Raymond Chester wide open at the left side of the end zone. Inside release pattern and couldn't catch it. That's right, it was just behind him. And actually, both tight ends were over there. Jimmy Kennedy was double covered by Donnie Shell and Mel Blunt, and Ray Chester was by his lonesome. Now let's see what Burt Jones does on third and goal from the 3. Wide receivers to either side. Takes the snap. Takes. Look. The ball is free in the air. The Steelers have it. And a man is running down the field with the ball. Going down the field with the ball to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Andy Russell. It's a foot race. Inside the 30. The 20. The 10. Touchdown Pittsburgh. Andy Russell picks up the fumble and goes all the way for a touchdown. 94 yards. Unbelievable play as Burt Jones cocked his arm. He was hit. It was a fumble. It bounced on the turf. Andy Russell picked it up and with blockers around him went 94 yards for a touchdown. Absolute bedlam here in Pittsburgh. Jones was hit from behind. It was Jack Ham who knocked the ball free. And now the Pittsburgh Steelers have put the game away. They lead 27-10 with 1:47 left to go on spectacular plays by the defense. Andy Russell in his 11th year in the National Football League. Burt Jones dejectedly on the sideline. Going back over to the Colts bench as Roy Gerella will attempt to point after. We've seen everything now. We've seen it all today. We have seen it all. We've seen quarterbacks, both quarterbacks that looked as though they would never play in the second half. Both of them back into action, Burt Jones and Bradshaw. We've seen the interception. We've seen some great running by the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've seen some fine defensive play at times by Baltimore, but Baltimore is a young football team. And they told me before this football game that the young men here just might not be able to cope with it this year. There's a whistle. They say they might be a year away at Baltimore. Well, I don't know, but here comes the point after. Roy Gerella will try the point after. The snap set down good, and again the extra point is automatic with Roy Gerella. Now there's a timeout with a score. The Pittsburgh Steelers 28, the Baltimore Colts 10.
We'd like to remind you that following today's game between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, we'll have the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams from the Coliseum out in California, also via the Mutual Network with Lindsey Nelson and veteran sportscaster on the West Coast, Lon Simmons. On Sunday, two more exciting NFL games. The NFC playoff game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings from Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, where the weatherman says tomorrow it'll be in the low or mid-20s, maybe even colder than that. Don Creaky and Al Wester, who are handling today's game at Pittsburgh, will be on hand to bring us the action in that one on Sunday. And then to wind up the busy weekend, it'll be the Cincinnati Bengals and the Oakland Raiders from the Oakland Alameda Coliseum for the AFC semifinals. Lindsey Nelson and former NFL kicking star Gordy Solto will be on hand to describe that one for the Mutual Network. So the Steelers busy with the defense again. They've broken this one wide open.
We are back at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers have broken this game wide open. They were behind 10-7 in the third quarter. And they scored a touchdown and 2 more in the fourth quarter. And now they put the game away, leading 28-10 as Jarrella kicks off high downfield. Laird, 1 yard deep, runs it out to the 10, to the 20, and dives out to the 22-yard line. 1:42 to go, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense comes out again. A team defense that has won this game. Out on the West Coast, Mr. Lindsey Nelson and Lon Simmons are standing by, and we'll be going to L.A. and the Coliseum for the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams very shortly. So don't go away at the end of this football game now, because we've got another great one coming your way, the NFC playoff game. And don't forget, tomorrow we'll have Minnesota-Dallas. Don Crickey and I will be in Minnesota for that ball game, and then we'll go out for the Cincinnati-Oakland football game following. Listen to the cheering for Andy Russell, the right side linebacker who made that, picked up that fumble and ran it 94 yards for a touchdown. He came to the bench and got a tremendous standing ovation. Nice gesture by his coach, Chuck Noll. He took Russell out of the game as he let him go out of the Pittsburgh defense, then took him out of the game so he could get the standing ovation. We'll have our winners.
We'd like to remind you that more exciting college football is coming up on December 29th, the Gator Bowl at Jacksonville, Florida. Airtime on the Parade of Sports for that one will be 0200 GMT from Jacksonville on December 30th. Now let's get back to Three Rivers.
The Baltimore Colts, their great year coming to an end, and what a great year it was, the comeback team in football, from 2-12 to a divisional championship. But today, they're no match for the defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Domrey's is now in, dropping to throw. He's going to be sacked back at the 17-yard line by Dwight White. And the Baltimore Colts signal for and allotted a timeout. Not going to call a timeout. The official starts the clock again. Baltimore realizing they cannot come back and win the game. A great season for the Colts and Ted Marchibroda, their first-year coach. No doubt will be accorded Coach of the Year honor. 1:20 left to go in the game. Bill Olds and Don McCauley are the running backs. Dropping to throw, and it's incomplete. Domrey's is flat back of the 3 as he tried to loop a pass out over the middle to Bill Olds. It was incomplete. Domrey's was leveled by Ernie Holmes. Boy, did he come in and put the blast on the quarterback that time. The president of the Mutual Network, Mr. Ed Little, and the entire Mutual sports staff would like to thank Mr. Art Rooney, head coach Chuck Noll, Ed Kiley, all of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Joe Thomas, Coach Ted Marchibroda, Barry Jones, many more for their hospitality and their cooperation during the 1975 season, and to tell them we're looking forward to being with them again in 1976. Now Domrey drops the throw on 3rd and 14. Standing inside his 10, he rolls out, crosses the 10. Now he's going to run with the ball, puts his head down, and is knocked down at about the 23-yard line, and the clock continues to run. He was knocked down inbounds. John Banaszak, number 76 in the game, made the tackle on Marty Domrey. 50 seconds to go, and the clock running, and the Baltimore Colts will now have to punt the ball to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Great victory for the Steelers. Great effort by the Baltimore Colts. National Football League playoff action at its absolute best on a Mutual Broadcasting System. Mentioned the second game coming up today from Los Angeles. The Rams and the Cardinals, 2 more tomorrow on Mutual. Here is the punt downfield, fielded by Glenn Edwards. Does the turn upfield, spins out across the 40 to the 42, and with 21 seconds left to go in the game, the Baltimore Colts send out their defensive unit, and the Steeler offense unit comes out to close out the game. 28-10. Pittsburgh led 7-0. Baltimore came back to lead in the third quarter 10-7 after it was tied 7-7 at the half. But the Pittsburgh defense took over and dominated this game throughout the last 2 quarters, particularly the fourth. The biggest play of the game, a 94-yard fumble return for a touchdown by linebacker Andy Russell for the Steelers. Here's the snap. Hand off goes. Collier runs with the ball. He crosses the 45, crosses the 50. The ball is free. Collier is going to be ruled down at the 50. 11 seconds. That'll be the last play of the game. The clock is running down. That's going to do it. The final score, the Pittsburgh Steelers 28, the Baltimore Colts 10, and we'll...
Today's episode is brought to you by thisdayintheNFL.com. Celebrating football's greatest moments, one day at a time. Listen to classic broadcasts, explore historic games, and keep the legacy of the NFL alive at thisdayintheNFL.com.